Okay, what's going on, everyone? Grand Rising, greetings, good day to you all. I am your holistic lifestyle coach and host, Angelina, here for Wealth Builders Alliances every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So give me just a second. I am sending out notifications to everyone. While you're waiting, if you can like and share, we are talking about taxes tonight. Give me just a second. And while I'm looking down, I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna take my video off really quickly. So make sure you all like and subscribe and share all that good jazz, right? And again, give me just a second while I am sending out all these notifications. How is everybody's Friday? How's everybody's week going? I hope everyone is having a great week going into the weekend, right? We're going to keep this down to an hour, right? Because it's Friday night. I know it's Friday. The weather's nice here in Indiana. I know for sure. Unusually nice. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. And again, give me just a second while I am sending out notifications. I'm also live on, I'm live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on stereo. So if you're on stereo, feel free to come in and have a conversation. Shout out to you. Tyrak, if I didn't pronounce that right, my apologies. Shout out to everyone. We're going to be talking about taxes. I know it's like tax time. Everybody's excited to get their taxes. If you have tax credits coming back, right? Otherwise, it's not so pleasant. I'm sure we can all agree. So we're going to be talking about that tonight for just a second. It's for me, I've been working all week. My husband's been working all week. And so I want to get this conversation in. Like I said, I haven't been here the past couple of weeks, but I want to chat with you all and share some things with you all. So give me just a second, please, if you will. Please like and subscribe and share if you are if you're present right now. Okay. If you're on stereo, feel free to jump in, share your comments, your verbal comments, and I'll play those accordingly. Again, please like and share. If you're on stereo, there is a link on stereo where you can jump in on YouTube and listen in, right? If you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook listening, please like and share. Okay, give me just a second. So we're talking about taxes. And like I said, I know it's tax time. So we're going to get into all of that. If you all give me a moment to share all this. So again, if you're listening, let me know how your week is going. I just started a new job. I'm a nurse. If you all don't know, I'm a nurse. And I love nursing. Healthcare is a different situation. But I do love nursing. I do love being compassionate and caring for people, being of service, all that jazz. So I am loving my new position. And so tonight I want to talk to you all about options as far as filing your taxes. I know it's tax time, so a lot of people have started doing their taxes. And so now at this point, you can't write things off, but I do want to talk about those kind of things tonight as far as writing your taxes off in the near future, saving money, earning money, all that jazz. If you are listening, I can't see. I'm on StreamYard, so I'm on different platforms. If you are listening right now, please drop a comment in the chat and say hey, if you will. So I know you're listening, and that'd be super awesome. if you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you look in my comment section, you can find links for my YouTube pages, my Facebook pages, Instagram pages, all that jazz. Okay. So please like and subscribe and share and all that jazz. And like I said, give me just a second. I'll get on camera. I am sharing all this right now. So yeah, drop me a in the comments, say hey, so I know you're here. I can't see who's here, so drop me a comment. Also in the description, you can find my website, my Clearest Conscience website. So please check that out. I've got some stuff going on where I'm going to be doing promotions and all that jazz. And as you all know, if you've listened to me before, I do promotions and support and network and all that stuff. So shout out to United Empires of Acubaline, right? Go over to the United Empires of Acubaline.com. Let me find it and put it in the chat. Give me just a second. Shout out to Queen Tina Berry, Queen Kathy B, Queen Lynn, Pablo X, Mind Games Uncut, Mr. P. Shout out to everybody with the United Empires of Acubaline. So you all check us out. And again, I'm sitting here sending invitations for people to listen in. So again, you all let me know where you're coming from if you're listening. I have not been here for a couple weeks. But again, this conversation was going to be important. So I am not a tax guru. Okay. I filed my taxes accordingly. Okay. And I've not been diligent with that in the past couple of years, but I do try to file my taxes. So we're going to talk about saving, investing, writing off taxes. Okay. I see a couple people in the building. Please let me know you're here as I'm sending these invitations out. Shout out to Queen Kathy B too. Let's get the comments. Like I said, shout out to Queen Kathy. That's cool. Thank you so much, Queen. I know you're super busy. All of us with the United Empires of Acubaline are super busy. So I always appreciate Queen Kathy coming in and supporting. And I appreciate anybody that can't stay. But please like and share. So if you all look on my Facebook page, on my website, which you can find in the description. I love you, Queen, so much. Thank you so much, Queen Kathy. You all check out Queen Kathy B on Facebook. Her gardening tips. I've grown and learned so much from Queen Kathy with the gardening, in home, outdoors, all that stuff. So you all check that out and support that. So again, I'm sitting here trying to send out invitations. So if you look on my Facebook page, it's pinned on my Facebook page. And as far as the my Acorns promotions. So you all sign up for Acorns, okay? We're talking about taxes tonight, and we're talking about building your wealth, growing your wealth. So sign up for Acorns if you have not already. Please use the link in my description on my Facebook page, my Clearest Conscious Facebook page, and sign up for that. It'll grow your money. I've been investing money for my children with that. So make sure you all check that out. And you can find that on my website at clearestconscience-hlc.com. So I'm saying that because tonight we're going to be talking about taxes, and I want to read to you from Acorns, okay, and give you all some information. Again, if you're listening on stereo, please click that link and do a podcast on YouTube, right? Shout out to Infamous Sage, T-Rack, on stereo. Shout out to everybody. There is a comment on stereo, so I'm gonna play that really quickly while I am trying to send out these invitations. Let's listen.
Hey, salutations to Angelina Jolie. What's going on with you? This to rock up in the building. Have a damn good day. Yeah.
What's going on, Tarak? Thank you for joining in. Please like and share. Okay, so we're talking about taxes tonight. So I think it's important to talk about this because I know a lot of us can agree that growing up and learning things in school, we don't learn about taxes, we don't learn about investments, we don't learn about savings, right? About credit scores. And so these things are important. I do want to tell you all there is a someone I'm linked up with, Lydia Wood. She does taxes for personal and business matters. So I'm gonna put that information out there. So again, if you're listening on stereo, click that link and join me on YouTube so you can get that link or whatnot. But yeah, definitely want to support. If you are doing anything business wise as an entrepreneur, please link up with me. Send me a message on my website at Clearest Conscience so we can connect and I can promote and support and empower and likewise, right? So, anyhow, we're going to talk about this really quickly. Like I said, I need to pay attention to my king, my family, but this is important. So, tax time is here, okay? And at this point, it's kind of difficult to try to write off things and benefit tax wise from things. So, this conversation is going to be more so as far as preparation for the year to come. Okay. So if you all want to make comments, have questions, whatnot, please feel free to put those in the comments and I will play those. I will share those comments or whatnot. So my son, my oldest is 25. He filed his taxes. He's always big about filing taxes. And it said that he owes almost $800 in federal taxes. So if we don't know what's going on with our taxes, how we pay tax dollars, what our money goes to, that is a detriment for us all, individually and collectively, right? So we want to make sure that we understand what's going on with our taxes. We want to be advocates, right, for how our money is spent. Would you all agree? So with that being said, I'm gonna read a couple of things to you. So again, I'm looking at acorns. If you sign up for Acorns, again, go to my Facebook page, my Clearest Conscience Facebook page, and you can see that link pinned at the top. Okay. So go ahead and sign up for that. But this is where I'm getting this information from. Okay. So it's talking about how does a tax deferred investment work? We'll start there. So it says on your contributions, when you deposit money into a tax deferred account, you usually use after tax dollars. It only technically becomes pre tax after you file your taxes. So again, I'm not a tax guru. I don't want to get into all that, but I do want to share with you options as far as what's going on mind games. Real quick, I'm sorry to deflect. Make sure you all, if you are tuned in, make sure you all go to Mind Games Uncut and subscribe to Mind Games Uncut. He is live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sharing positive, uplifting information and knowledge on Black empowerment. So you all subscribe to Mind Games Uncut if you all will. I love promoting all kinds of entrepreneurs and businesses. And again, I'm with the United Empress of Akibalan. That's what we do. That's what I do. And I love to link up with anybody that thinks like that. So teach their own. So yes. So anyways, investments. So what I want to share with you all on Acorns. I don't want to read all this. I had it prepped out. I don't want to read all this, but I want to share with you all options. And thank you, King. Share with you all options as far as tax credits or whatnot. So if you're in the chat, let me know what you all do as far as professionally. So for me as a nurse, there's so many things that you can write off. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Writing off things on your taxes, benefiting from paying into taxes. Okay. And so as a nurse, right, there's a lot of things I can write off. Right now I'm doing home care, so I drive a lot. All my patients I drive to see. So they pay me mileage, but I can still write off my gas, what I pay in gas, when I get new tires, when I get oil changes, all those kind of maintenance things. I work from home sometimes with my internet. So with that, I can write off my internet bill. I use my cell phone to make contact with patients. I can write those things off. You can't have internet if you don't have electricity, right? So you can write off your electricity bill. And it's only so much you can write off, but those are things that you can write off. And we don't think about those things. I don't know if you all remember a few years ago, people were in an uproar about Donald Trump not paying taxes. Everybody was mad about that, right? A lot of people are mad. Not everybody, but a lot of people are mad. But you were mad, but you didn't understand the process behind that, right? So there's a process behind playing the game of life, playing the game with this system called the government, right? And we had to learn those systems, we had to learn those rules and learn how to play the game. And a lot of us get mad because we feel like we're shortchanged, but you don't invest in understanding how to play the game. Can we agree? So if you're mad at Donald Trump because he didn't pay taxes, you probably don't know what that really means. Okay? I'm sure he had taxes to pay, but he understood loopholes. I know I make jokes all the time. I say I'll say I'll Wesley snipe you. Like I'm not going to pay if I don't feel like I need to pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. I'll Wesley snipe you. But at the same time, I don't want to go to jail. I don't like to drink where I urinate, right? Okay. So what do you do about that? But when the government's wrong, like how do you miscalculate when you take somebody's money? So all of us can agree when you pay taxes, right? You get a check every other Friday, whenever you get paid, right? But the government takes their money before you get your money. There's no say so, but you don't know where that money is being spent. I live in Indiana. If I bust one more pothole, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like it's crazy. But I'm not investing in where my money is going. And it should be going to fixing these potholes. Right? So shout out to Crooked Creek Alert in Indianapolis. You all go on Facebook, look at Crooked Creek Alert, giving all the information as far as potholes, government issues, all that stuff. So shout out to Crooked Creek Alert. So yeah, but where are we spending our money? So you all let me know, whoever's in the chat, let me know where you're coming from. Let's talk about how we can save money, how we can write off taxes. Okay. My daughter is she does social work, right? So if you all know anything about social work and going to school for that, you have to have a master's degree to do what you want to do. My daughter spends so much money on school, right? And until she gets a master's degree, she can't do what she wants to do as a psychologist, So, but with that situation, she has to look presentable. She gets her hair done, her nails done. You can write those things off. You have to look presentable, right? If you're a manager, a lead, a shift lead, whatever, you have to look the part, right? If you're buying uniforms for work, write those things off. It's very interesting to me how people are always crying broke, but what's really broken is your mindset and your initiative and your motivation. A lot of people are broke because they want to be broke, because they're comfortable with being broke. You shouldn't have to break your back and feel like you're enslaved to make it make sense and to make your dollars add up. Most Americans are one to two paychecks away from being homeless. We're living paycheck to paycheck. No matter how much money we make, how much we save, we're still in a broke mentality, a poverty mindset. And so this conversation is to give you options as to how you can benefit. Okay? So again, please share in the comments what you do, where you work. I promise you, there's a way that you can write things off on your taxes. And you might not get a check, a benefit check from the IRS, from the government, but at least you don't owe. And what I've seen is, unless you have child dependents, more times than not, you're going to owe money to the government. And that's a shame when you don't understand where your money is going. It's a shame when you're a senior citizen and you're paying property taxes on the house that you paid for, paying 30 years plus. But then if you don't pay property taxes, they'll take your house. Yes or no? But there's no voice for that. There's no call to action. There's no boots on the ground. We complain about it, but we don't make action. So I want you all to make sure you do go over to the United Enterprise of Akibalan.com, the website. Make sure you go to my website, Clearest Conscious-HLC.com. Anybody that I'm connected with is for growth, right? You can write off hair. Yeah, you can write off your haircuts. Your hairstylist, if you got, you wear nice shoes, get your nails done, whatever it is, just be consistent. But we don't want to save receipts. We don't want to keep receipts. That's important. We don't want, it seems like we don't want to do the work for the benefit, right? No, right, King. You never really own a house. You don't. And I asked Queen Kathy with the United Empires of Akibalan, I asked Queen Kathy, her, Queen Tina Berry, they're buying land. They've bought land. They paid it off quicker than you can pay off a car payment, right? It's land. It's so interesting how people have so much criticism, such a huge opinion about things, but no knowledge and no wisdom. It's very sad. It's very sad. The things that I do, United Empires of Akibalan, the Black Men's Group of Indiana, look at different things. There are so many people that are initiating change. And it's so discouraging when other people around us don't adhere to that. It's so much work for people that are doing that don't want to do, So please definitely, yes. Hashtag UEOA. Yes. It's so important for us to have our own mindsets, be free thinkers, be really aware and involved. That term being woke, ignorant people are always hijacking higher mindsets and higher concepts and watering down those things. So now we have woke people, conscious people, and now it's being watered down by ignorant people. There has to be some accountability. My husband, my king, it used to drive him crazy. I set my alarm for 5 o'clock. I got to go work at 7. Keep hitting the snooze button. Snooze. He hears the alarm. He gets up. Right. And it bothered him. And that was my mindset. Like, that's how I operated. I was awake. I was up, but I wasn't aware. I wasn't alert. I wasn't in sync. So many of us are up and moving, but it's a zombie mentality. And then you wonder why you're so broke and you're so broken and you can't succeed you can't win, you can't get ahead because you'd rather listen to somebody that doesn't know anything than somebody that's trying to help you by way of experience, right? I don't know everything. I don't know a lot of things. But when I connect with people that know better, I promise you all, when I come with you all to information, I share things that I've learned. It's a process, right? So back to taxes. What do you do for a living? If you drive a truck, if you drive anywhere, write it off. Again, your car insurance, I don't say car insurance, but your buying new tires, oil changes, car maintenance, all that stuff, write it off. They're not going to give you everything you paid for, but if you have a record of those things, why wouldn't you write it off? It just makes sense. If you have to buy uniforms for work, write it off. If you buy business cards, if you spend money on marketing, if you spend money on printing flyers, write off your ink that you spend money on. I spent $100 on ink, and it went through like nothing, right? Write it off. Why are people in America so broke and so broken in your mindsets? But we complain about being in that situation, but there's no call to action to change our situation, right? Like I said, I work for a job right now where I get paid for mileage. It doesn't completely compensate what I spend in gas. I appreciate it. It doesn't completely compensate though. When I buy uniforms, when I spend money on flyers, when I advertise, it costs me money. We have to start thinking smarter and wiser. And again, back to the United Enterprise of Akibalan, I've learned when it comes to buying land, and I asked Queen Kathy B about buying land versus, owning a house. It is a more cost-efficient way, but you still don't own anything. Doesn't that bother anybody that we pay taxes, but you don't own anything? There's nothing you can do to actually own anything outright legally, right? But yet we complain, but we don't have action. I was thinking about something the other day as far as mathematics. So, in school, all the way through, you learn math, science, English, right? For the most part. When you talk about math, what do they call it? Math problems, right? Math problems. Addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. They're all math problems. And when you find the answer, it is the solution. So if you're into math, okay, right? So equations, okay? There's a process behind all that. It's the same way in life. Are you part of the problem or part of the solution? Think about algebra. X plus Y plus whatever is whatever. They're non-realistic numbers and letters, but then you have to solve the equation. That's where we're at right now. There's a problem, there's a solution. What is your equation in that? We don't realize that a lot of times we cause the problems that we have to deal with, especially when it comes to finances. That's just the truth. It's the truth. Really quickly, I want to show you all something. Hang on just a second. I'm going to share my screen. And I want to share with you all. Hang on. So, like I said, I have someone that does taxes. Here we go. So, Lydia Wood. Lydia Wood is here based in Indiana, but she does taxes. She's certified to do taxes in all 50 states. She does it for individual and business returns. Been doing it for over 20 years. Okay. Very thorough. So her number is on the screen here, 317-966-9253. You can reach her at liwood52 at sbcglobal.net. So I'll take a screenshot of that. You can go back to the replay, whatever you need to do. But if you need tax services, make sure you all check her out. Okay. I've not used her yet because I've done my own taxes. But if you need somebody to do taxes that you're not sure of, you're gonna use a third party, definitely check her out. Okay? Definitely. So that is that. So yeah. So with again, back to taxes. Let me see. Oh, how do I do that, King? Oh, I see you, Queen Kathy. See that it does, but yeah, nothing we can do about it. Yeah. You know, D Mays, I'm on a stream. I don't know if I can make you a moderator. If you all want to come on, I'll tell you what I'll do. What I'm gonna do is send this invitation to you all if you want to jump on. Queen Kathy and D Mays, then you can definitely jump on. I love my UEOA family. I do. Okay, let me see. Give me just a second. Okay, so Queen Kathy and D Mays, I just sent the invitation via email if you all want to jump on. Yeah, okay, so what Queen Kathy is saying, it's something we can do. It's so tricky. I think if we have a voice, and that's why I said, like, I know, yeah, I'm busy. I'm super busy. And I will say, like, with the UEOA, I'm so grateful to be entrusted doing the website, is updating things. And I'll be busy, y'all. But there's no excuse. I have to make time because it's important. But I know a lot of people say, I'm just one person. I can't do XYZ. I'm here to tell y'all now. The United Empires of the Cuban Line has made a difference to me because when I first reached out to Queen Tina Berry, it was actually a business matter, right? Following her on YouTube. And she has such a strong presence. And so everybody I'm linked with, Queen Kathy, D Mays, Pablo X, Mr. P, everybody, Lynn, Queen Lynn, everybody. Like, it's been so life-changing, and there's a bigger purpose. So we're only one person, but I think for me, if somebody doesn't do something, who will? If not you, then who? Kind of thing, right? So I think that's very important. So again, if you're listening, make sure you let me know. Drop a comment and say, hey. Because like I said, I'm on streamer. I can't see who's listening. I'm looking down on my phone now to check it out. But yeah, let me know what's going on. I would love to give some insight as far as options to write things off on your taxes. Like I said, business cards, marketing, all kinds of things you can write off. Let me see. Hold on. One way. Okay, so Queen Cat, this is one way you can get a break on taxes is being a veteran. There is another way, but I'm not too familiar with it for tax exempt. And that's cool. My king is a Marine vet. Queen Kathy's husband is a vet. And it's so crazy because I'm going to look into that because there's so many options for vets. And it's so crazy because I don't know about you all, but I feel like veterans have a raw deal. Like, I don't know why veterans pay taxes. Does that make sense to anybody? That makes sense to me. So that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, it's unfortunate. We gotta do better by one another. Give me just. I'm looking at my phone. Give me just a second. I don't know. What do you all think? Give me. I'm so sorry. Give me just a second. Okay, yeah. So, anyways, so yeah, so many things you can write off. Let me see. Queen Katie says my husband finally applied. It should take effect later this year. A small discount. Mm. Okay. Queen Kathy, I sent you a link to the streamer. If you have time to jump on, if you want to share that, please feel free. No pressure. Queen Kathy is always supportive, so no pressure. But if you want to jump in and share that, please feel free to. So yeah, I think it's super important. Again, writing off anything you can. I've been talking to some of my patients and their families as far as writing things off when it comes to healthcare. That's super important. You know, um, people spend so much money on healthcare. It's ridiculous. So if you're paying for healthcare, I know a lot of seniors that have Medicare, Medicaid, they're still paying in taxes. If you're paying out of the pocket for medical expenses or whatnot, you should write that stuff off. Queen Cat's gonna jump in. Let's see what Queen Cat has to say. What's going on, Queen?
Hey there, how are
How
you?
are you? Well, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Can you
Good.
hear me?
Oh, I hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So we didn't do it for our other homes, but my husband did apply in our home now. He applied for benefits for our taxes. So the government will pay a portion of your taxes. Now I forgot how much, but it's a small portion that they take off every year for veterans.
Okay.
Yeah, so there will be a savings, and we have our taxes impounded with our mortgage. So um, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I forgot how much he said they take off. But he finally did it, so I was glad about that. Like any benefits, I'm trying to get all of them, veteran benefits. But that is,
Mm,
if you're a vet and you own a home, definitely check into getting your property taxes lowered. My coworker told me about it years ago, and I thought he went down, but I guess he never did do it, but he did it recently.
okay. And it's so weird because even with that, like I feel like I know you and I have talked several times. I'm so grateful as far as like owning land. And I've asked several people. I feel like you're knowledgeable. I've asked several people. And it's
Mhm.
like you can buy your land and like the way you explained it to me is, what you and Queen Tina and the other individual did buying the land. It was like paying a car payment. Like and it's a greater investment, so anybody that's thinking that it's not a good investment to buy your own land, it
It's
certainly is.
definitely
Um,
good
but
investment.
how do you get out of? My thing is with especially senior citizens, if you're on a fixed income, how do you secure your home that you paid for 30 years, not paying taxes? It's crazy to me.
Yeah, we pay taxes on everything, but it wasn't always like that,
Hmm.
where we pay taxes on everything. Because that's like when you pay your car off, you still have to register. And so we're constantly coming out of pocket to, spending out money here and there.
Hmm.
So
And there,
basically,
there are some states that actually don't pay for like car registrations every year, but you pay for like maintenance and making sure that sticker to say that you can drive the car, right? So
well,
it's like
that I
weird.
know about. I know it, okay. So in some counties, they have it where like you have to have a small check every year. In my current
Right.
county, I don't have to have a small check at all, which is weird. But yeah, my other county, I had to have a small check every year. So I would have to, get the car smog. But now we don't need that. So that's an extra expense too. So imagine, getting a small check every single year plus paying your tags and those fees. So um but what you're talking about, I'm not real sure on that. But yeah, I think it's just greed. Like however they can make money is what they do.
I agree. I think it's because nobody has a voice, though.
Right. Right. We don't. We don't. But like I said, it wasn't always like that. It's just over the years that, they came up with this, hey, how can we get them to pay more money to us? Well, let's tax. So let's tax this, let's tax that. And so everything is like has this little tax on it.
Mm-hmm. And you
Yeah.
know what? I know you and I talked about um burial plots before, and how before with you growing up, and we're only a handful of fingers apart in age, but like you remember not having where there was no cost for burial fees, and now there is.
Right.
I was talking to my sister, and we were talking about how she does real estate, right? And
Mhm.
she had a house that her and someone a group bought, and they're trying to flip it, but now she's done her real estate license, and it's work. She's spending so much money on fees to be this real estate agent. But she was saying that she learned that as far as having a burial plot, you don't have to have a license to have that. And she was saying all of a sudden you saw these like burial plots on the corners of streets, and it was weird to her. But like I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it is. Because you don't have to have a license for those
But
burial plots.
also, you can apply to have the burial plot on your own land too. So there's a process to that. But
Mhm.
certain places like in the country, well, when I say country, I mean like back in the South, some of those places, because I was asking my mom, I said, we have all this family buried here, do you guys pay to bury people? She's like, I'm not sure. But they had the Indian burial grounds where they just bury their people. But we pay a lot of money. you know it's open and closing, there's the casket. There's so many fees to basically burying a loved one, and it's ridiculous. So with our land up there, me and Bruce were talking about, my husband, we were talking about that, like, can we do a burial ground on our land? We were going to look into it. However, we're with the military, so we're covered, but what about other family members? So, but then not everybody is comfortable, hey Queen Tina, with having
Grand Rising.
burials on their land.
Amazing, Queen.
So, and since we're sharing land
You
right
know,
now,
everybody's not. It's like paying for those expenses. Like it's really, so as morbid as it is. Like we're all gonna die. Why wouldn't you want that? Rather, we ashes my grandparents' house, and now somebody else owns that house, and that tree is gone. So like as morbid as, I mean, it's just what it is. Why would you pay all these expenses for no reason? It just doesn't make any sense the way we think about things, the way we think about money and investing. And that's why I said shout out to you and Queen Tina Berry, who's in the house, straight no chasing with the Queen. Um, you all are buying, and it for me, you all made it seem easy as pie. It's like easy, like just like going and buying a car. And I'm not ashamed to say I drive right now. I drive a 2003 Ford Taurus. My husband drives a really nice car.
oh,
I drive
I have
around
one
all
of
the
those.
time. I'm not
I have
paying money.
one
I'm not gonna
too.
pay money for no car. I'm
I
not.
have a
I'm
Taurus
not.
too. My second
I'm
car,
with you, Angie.
but a car, unless you pay cash, it depreciates. So
The trends I know, like here in India, my grandmother was so mad at her when she
Queen, I think you're
told me one
breaking.
day I was at Kroger. I put a lot.
Okay, I was wondering if it was me or if it was her. Does it sound like she's breaking up?
Yeah, I hear. Yeah, you were breaking up. So can you repeat what you said? The last thing you said.
Yes. Can you hear?
No, you went out again.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now.
I'm weird too.
I can hear you now. I'm muting my mic so there's no feedback.
I see my little. I pay a lot of money for internet. I'm tired of this. But D Maze says it's breaking up. Come on, D Maze. I sent you a link. Come on, D Maze. But I was my grandmother called me one day and she was telling me that she canceled her life insurance policy. And I was so confused and frustrated. But she explained that she had paid for all that stuff. Everything was arranged, Um, and it kind of made more sense. What's he say? Hold on real quick. D-Man's about to eat dinner. I'm not gonna comment. Cool beans, skank. But yeah, I thought about that, and like we don't think about how we spend money, um, how we invest in things, and it's really sad because we're so geared toward listening to mainstream media and listening to propaganda that doesn't benefit us. It don't make no sense to me, you know. So we had to do better. We had to think better. I know Queen Tina Berry has a business. Definitely promotes black owned, black work, black, empowerment, right?
Hmm.
I was telling my mom today, Queen, and I was so frustrated. I was talking to her about the situation we were on. If you all haven't listened to the United Press of Line, you all check out our broadcast, okay? But we were talking about when you were upset maybe about a month ago. And I was like, who upset the queen? Like, I told my mom today that resonated with me today. Like, I'm so tired of being screwed by people, especially people that look like me. I'm so tired of that. It's so frustrating, you know? And so when I ask people why you're so broke, like, I'm not where I want to be financially, but I know my worth and I know my wealth. And I'm sure all of us on this platform can agree. And it's so frustrating when you strive and you thrive and you do the work and like you feel like you're coming up short, and I'm over that. I'm really confused why people don't understand the detriment that they are in individually and then how it contributes collectively. And whether you want to look at it as a black thing, a cultural thing, an ethnicity thing, a humanitarian thing, like we're all screwed. So where do you need to get in to fit in to where you make a difference? And that's where I'm at. Like people are so damn broken. And it's causing havoc to all of us.
Yes, yes, Queen. But people have to realize that they broke. That's one thing I accepted for myself. We start a business like I try, and most of it be our people because our people are broken. And that's why sometimes I have to change my thinking when it comes down to what real activism is and what we can do as a people because it's like we expect broken minded, crippled minded people to do right. If we were going to do right, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in. We're broken. And that's why I said a lot of this fight that we're in as in people, black people is not just black or white, sometimes we're going to need help from other people, but we still stand on what we're doing and don't let no, like if we own land, keep land as black people. If we own this, keep stuff. But as in some people, we need to stop. I mean, as in black people, we cannot expect a lot from each other because we're broken.
I think as a black woman, as me as an individual, I don't expect anything from anybody anymore because it's very disappointing. And I've learned, for me, I don't experience those things on a regular basis because I choose to align with greatness. You create your greatness. You know, I don't have to, there's no reason for me to collaborate with less than. I'm not the greatest. I'm not perfect, but I'm great in my own aspect, and so are you all. I want to align with people that are better than me, that have goals and provisions that lead me to strive for that. I don't want less than, where I'm like, it's okay to be less than. And I think that's where we're at. And so when we talk about, like, with the conversation with the taxes, again, I really do have a disdain for having conversations about diversity and division, but it's all it is. And it's not division unless you make it division. It's not why is it always a black white thing when it's a bunch of ethnicities, a bunch of cultures? That's a minimal thing. Democrat, Republican, that's minimal. People's genders, that's just weird, and it's minimal. When it comes to who you are at the end of the day, what do you stand for? What do you want? What are your goals? No one has goals and ambitions and motivation. It's just que sera, it's what it is. I'm just one person. I can't do. I'm telling y'all right now, everybody's listening outside of this platform right now. I had goals way before this platform, way before United Empires of Akibaline. But my goals led me to United Empires of Akibaline. It's been life-changing. Why don't we have life-changing experiences that change our mindsets, change our family, change our marriages, changes our wealth? That don't make sense to me. It's weird. I don't have all the answers. On this platform right now, we don't have all the answers, but we do have solutions. And if you have nothing, then why wouldn't you consider what we're saying here?
Let me ask you a question, Queen. I wasn't hearing the earlier. Like I was just talking with my daughter. I don't know if she came on about the IRS, and I see where you got the people versus the IRS and stuff. So is we always say it, but is the IRS even part of the government?
I don't think they are. They're not, just like the Federal Reserve is not. The CIA is not. They're not. But we don't want to say
Because
that, though.
isn't everybody like when you say it's not a black and white? Yeah, we're all in here struggling, and that is one of our problems. Just as people. Okay, I was looking at my daughter. She was saying something about she was listening there. Just as people, we're all in the same boat, and we're all being robbed by these corporate entities. That's what I
Right.
was asking. That's why I was asking. I didn't know what you were saying earlier about the IRS, but I was just wondering,
My thing
like,
with the IRS
where
is,
that
like,
thought
I don't
of.
understand, like, why are we paying taxes? Why are we paying into things and we don't know where our money is going? I can't tell you to vote for, who to support, Democrat, Republican, whatever. I can't tell you that. I had somebody tell me the other day, I was training for this new job, and it shouldn't matter, but it does, because it does, and people make it matter. But I was training with this white woman. She's not a girl, she's a woman, um, as a nurse, and she was saying, I hate Donald Trump. She said it 3 times. So my husband, hate is a strong word to use. That's a strong emotion to even feel. My husband says, when I get off the phone, I say, I love you. I love you too, by the way. Da, da, da. Okay, bye. Talk to you later. Love you. Oh, by the way, love you, love you. I'll say every time I say I've to you, Queen Tina, I've said to you, Queen Kathy, and I mean it. When I say I mean it. If I don't, I won't say it. Why? I don't have to. But hate is such a strong word, just like love is. So I'm not going to argue with you back and forth with Donald Trump or whoever, Biden. Why would hate? Why? It's so strong. I won't say, well, Biden's this and da da da. No, what's your beef? You know, there's no rhyme or reason for why we do what we do. But we want to justify why we think how we think. But you're not making no damn sense. You're not making no sense. If you want to vote for Donald Trump, cause XYZ, okay. As a black community, if you want to vote for Biden, why? Biden said so many corrupt things about black people. Why? But somehow there's a reason. It doesn't make your reason right. I asked my husband something earlier about taxes. I had a situation, and Queen Kathy knows, I've been working for free for months. For months. No complaint, no issue. I got time. I got my W-2s every day. I told this individual, hey, you know, I'm concerned because I don't fool with the government. I'm not going to entertain the government. So what you're putting out as far as what I've been paid versus what I owe the government, it's not adding up. So fix it. It wasn't fixed. Now, 3, 4, 5 months later, I get W-2s and saying that I've earned twice as much as what you paid me. My king, being Christ-like and God-like, he's like, just let it go. Just let it go. What? It's $50, $100. Let it go. And I respect my king and I honor my king. I don't mind submitting because my king means well and he knows well and he tames me. So I don't mind submitting. But no. I told you I'm not fooling with this government and you thought I was playing. I can show you better than I can tell you. It doesn't make me feel good to be that bad person, that person that calls State Board of Health and IRS on you over 50. But it's the principle. I don't understand the lack of accountability when it comes to well-being. So before I was with the United Empires of a Cuba line, I was already talking about going off the grid. My king's like, well, you don't want to do that. You know, you can't be on the phone. You can't be on the phone for who? Talk to who? Deal with who? I'll show you what I can tell you. Now comes the United Empires of Cuba line. Oh, cool beans. I don't mind working and sowing and investing so I can have my own land and invest in the United Empires of a Cuba line for the greater good of everybody. Why can't we think like that? Why are we so selfish and so greedy? And all the while you have nothing to show for your greed and your ignorance and your lack. What do you say, Queen Tina? Don't come on this land, on UEOA land, wearing Prada and red bottoms and da.
Exactly. Because if we want some change, and that this is anybody, mainly we're talking about us as Black people, but from wealth and everything, it could be anybody. Move off of these city buildings, stop being dependent on this government assistance and stuff. Take some responsibility with having these kids because I'm tired of these girls talking about, well, I had these many kids. I mean, things happen, but get income tax time coming. This black, white, whatever, but I'm talking to my Black people. Get you a plot of land, get you an RV. There, you can get, just like you go out here every year and get a car. We need to start normalizing surviving and making right decisions instead of normalizing spending your money to show off in front of society when we're at the bottom of the totem pole. Buy a plot of land is yours, and manufactured homes, you could put that on the land after you start off with an RV. And manufactured homes, you can get those refinanced and stuff. There's ways that we can start doing things as a people Well, and like I said, especially black people, if we want to change.
And that's my question. Like, why don't we want change? If you're complaining, then why are you not boots on the ground? Like, do something.
Do
I've
something with
never.
yourself. Like, buy kids. Like this year, I think we've done a lot better as black people. I didn't see a lot of people trying to, you still got stragglers that's trying to buy their kid every present that's going to be tore up. They'll spend thousands of dollars on presents and not $1,000 on a plot of land. But now you've been seeing people do videos where I bought my child the first investment property, a trailer. So I think we catching on. So I'm not going to say it, but like I say, those that is the small of us, I call us the 300. To the rest of society, it has to be popular like us. We're going to be moving off and letting these people have their rental properties because everybody participates when you put your house in these HOAs or in these neighborhoods and they raise the rent and then they're allowing these corporations and foreign entities to come in and then we keep complaining that they raise the rent. Well, buy your plot of land, move off. If you can't build a house right now, get an RV. It's just as much as a car note. Normalize doing something else. But see, most of the time, black people are scared to go do something different because when we do something different, we pick on each other and we laugh at each other.
We do. We do. But I'll tell you what, you better get your little lipstick and like paint on your grin. You can laugh right now, like you can bust guts later. Cause like I'm gonna show you right. I just think it's asinine. It's asinine. And like for me, I know growing up, and I get people, we're all in different stages as far as growth and knowledge and wisdom. But being closed-minded and choosing to be ignorant and in opposition, like somebody's like, two wrongs don't make it right. But I don't understand what you're saying. Like, I don't have to agree with you. It's not a matter of right or wrong. I don't want to be wrong. So I got someone with the tax thing. He was like, just let it go. Let it go. When I tell you my king has spent money, he spent thousands of dollars on people that I know, helping them, single mothers, paying their rent over the years. Like he's been blessing me while I've been off for the year, needing to recoup, wasting my time. But he's blessing with that. Like, so there is something that's owed to that. And there's a respect to that. But I don't understand, like, what is it going to take for you to do better? And like I said, like with the tax thing, he's like, just let it go. Just let it go. You can say because you've spent thousands of dollars on my people that I know that deserve it as far as help. He don't care if he gets it back or not. And I'm the same way. But I'm going to check you. When you're wrong, you're wrong. There's no amount of accountability that is, there's no accountability. I don't know if you all watched the Monique thing. Did you all see the Monique thing with Shay Shay? Y'all see that?
Just bits and pieces. I haven't watched the whole
Man,
thing.
it was so long. It was so long. I watched it, and what I took from this is what I took from that situation. If you all have not watched that the Shay Shay podcast with Monique, I love the Cat Williams one. I'm not into service like that. I don't care what people do because I don't know those people, But with Monique, the one thing that stood out for me, what she said, I think this is important.
My bad, Queen. Yeah, I see it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is the one that was important to me. The biggest thing she was talking about how, like, with all the backlash and the the blackballing, everyone had an issue with her husband. Why does he have to be there? Why is he in the mix? Why is he included? And she made a statement. She said, it's a sad day where the black community doesn't support a black man supporting his black queen.
Exactly. I said that when D.L. Hughley and they said Tyler Perry, when everybody kept saying they'll talk to her without her husband and this and that. But see, that's that nobody don't understand that we subconsciously don't want black women to have support. They are pissed with this woman because she will not make moves without her husband. But then they'll turn around and say black women are not submissive or black women don't do this and do that. And I was glad that Monique told them that she ain't doing nothing without her husband.
Facts. Why don't we think like that? And we wonder why we're so messed up. It don't make no sense to nobody. Like, it doesn't make any sense to anybody. Come on now. Come on. That's why I said when my husband said, like, yield to this, I was ready to call ICE. Like, this individual I'm dealing with, and there's no shade. She's listen, there's no shade. I'm not even mad about it. I'm not mad. But there's a principle behind it. Like, I will call ICE on you. I will call ICE. No. That's what I told my mom. Like, that's what I told my mom. Like, don't make me call my mom. My grandmother's passed away. When shit happened in the church, I'm calling my grandmother. And you wish you was in hell before you dealt with my grandmother. Now,
so you about to call ICE on somebody?
I will. Like my husband said, like, well, it's only $50 in taxes. I don't fool with the government like that.
It's
So
the
why
principle.
anything? It's the principle. If you're doing it to me, you're doing somebody else. It's the principle. I told you, I warned you. Come on now. So unless you're doing something like you're doing it, you're making money and you're profiting as an immigrant, I'm gonna call on you. You'll be back in Ghana in a heartbeat before damn Valentine's Day. No way. I mean, but you understand how hard it is for me. That is very
but you know, not trying to be funny. Did you not see that? And I know we all keep saying black folks protect black folks. What we're gonna have to understand is that some of our black folks I don't know if this person black or white, but some of our black folks ain't gonna do right. And just like a lady said, them people over in Ghana and Africa and them, they not talking about no pan African and kumbaya and like us. They over here to make money just like us.
And that's okay. I'll say it is what it is. And that's why I said I'm not pressed about being mad about it. I've been mad. When I hear black issues, I've been mad. I ain't mad no more. If you are a black mother and you know your son is gangbanging, your child's gangbanging, why don't you have life insurance? Chances are you're gonna bury this child. That's a sad thing to say. You know, why don't you have college funds for your child, but you're telling your child to go to college? There's no concept, there's no understanding. So I do give grace and mercy. I tell people all the time, like Queen Tina, like you got on me before, like you kumbaya, and it's not kumbaya. I'm trying to plead with you because I don't want to be the one that had to Will Smith your ass on stage in life. I don't. That's not my thing. I'm 42 years old. I'm not big and bad like that no more. Unless I have to be. I don't want to be that person. But I'm tired of people coming into my atmosphere, into my space, needing and longing, and I spend my time, my energy giving you information, and it's not worth your while. You don't know what it costs me. People don't know what it costs. You all are on here with me right now. Cricket is always on here. Like, you don't know what it costs us. We get on Wednesdays. We've missed it here and there. When we get on ZUEOA, you don't know what it costs us as far as time. And all we ask is for you to like and share. Maybe sometimes we get a little radical. So don't.
We get a lot of radical.
But it's the truth, though.
I'm just messing. Yes, we have fun and we talk facts.
But nobody wants that, though. But you want to hear about Nicki Minaj and Megan. I don't know nothing about nobody being shot in the foot. No, I don't know these people. I love D Mays. Damn it. Shame on you for sharing Sexy Red. I wish I never knew who the chick was. Like
that was D Mays. He did do that.
D Mays opened you up for Sexy Red.
I hadn't heard about her either. So he's responsible for me too.
I mean, but he's not responsible. He just share information because that's his arena. That's what I'm saying. We're responsible. When I shared, when he showed me what he showed me, like you can get like 2 seconds of a clip for me. I'm turning it off. Booty, what are you talking about? But now my husband's like, what is this? And now he's looking. Now someone else is looking. So I don't want to talk about things that don't matter to us. Buying land matters. Saving money, investing matters. Growing strong families matters. I don't care about what no celebrity's doing. I don't want to be that one. I said, Queen Tina, I found you with Fly Nubian Queens. I'm gonna say it. I'll say her now. I was rocking with Vicky Dillard. You don't know how long it took me to get her shit off my Facebook page. I was posting Vicky Dillard stuff all the time. It doesn't mean that she was wrong what she was sharing.
I'm still getting some of her stuff over my page.
And I just unsubscribed when they somehow infiltrated. So, I can't be mad at that. I don't care. I don't know her. I don't know why she did what she did. I won't, though. And I can't expect anybody to think like me. I don't. All of us don't always think exactly alike. I'm sure we have different opinions, but we can still unite and respect one another. And that's what's important. Like I was thinking about writing something the other day, titled, I Don't Know You. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know these people. I don't know Tyler Perry. I don't know Oprah Winfrey. I'm not going to rock with them, though. So there's no, what's your worth? I don't even know you, so I don't have to care. The love I have for UEOA is genuine. I didn't know Queen Tina Berry before I was trying to reach out to her for Melaleuca. Because I saw her on Fly Nubian Queens, telling truth, being genuine. I was like, she has her own cleaning business as a Black woman. Y'all hear that? Okay. If you didn't hear that, she has her own cleaning business as a Black woman. Okay. So I reached out to her after following her from Melaleuca for cleaning stuff. But there was a relationship that was formed, and it's genuine. That's what's important. We have all these weird relationships with people that are not building our wealth, and it's not just about money. It's about a mindset. Queen Kathy, she grows produce indoors and outdoors. Queen Lynn, indoors and outdoors. Pablo X is in Africatown. That's where the good work from Africatown comes from. He's in it doing the work. D. Mays, in it, doing community work. I'm not going to argue with anybody about our activism. I don't go in the streets and protest. I'm not about to do that shit. I'm not going to go anywhere in the streets protesting. I've been maced before at a cool event. I'm not going to get maced again. I'm not. Around a bunch of people that don't even know what's going on, that don't care. That's not my thing. But I do empower the people. I do what I do. And I'm not going to dispute that with people, and nobody should. That's some of my business with celebrities. I don't know these people. I don't care about
Hey,
these
Queen,
people.
can I say something? The only way that they'll catch me marching in the street, see, we march for stupid stuff. But if we got a reparations bill, like we're coming up with, that's the only time you're going to see me trying to stand in front of the Capitol. Like, these people march for anything, and it makes no sense. If I'm going to march, I'm marching to get a political something done. Let's march for and hold up reparations bill instead of saying hands up, don't shoot. We ain't got a law yet that stopped us from not being shot. So yes, if I'm gonna march for something that make. But other than that, I'm like, you ain't going out in them damn streets marching.
I'm not, and this is my thing. Like, why are we marching when, like, you had to have permission, you had to get a permit, and then, like, after like so much time, like, you got 2 seconds before the end of the permit before they start shooting a Mason, but you won't take the time to go to UAA and sign a petition, or wherever and sign a petition and have a voice. You see, it's not that complicated. Whether you're in politics or not, do you have a problem with paying taxes and not knowing where your money goes? That don't bother you? There's no logic behind what we're doing. So no, I will not march with anybody because they are dangerous. I grew up in church, and I remember going to like Kings Island and stuff like that. And I swear to y'all, I'm just gonna be honest. I was so scared. I would get on these roller coasters, and the whole time I'd be praying. I hated it. It was not fun. I'd be praying because I was thinking to myself, God, please don't put me on this roller coaster with a bunch of sinners that you want to kill, and I'm here by default. It sounds crazy, but that's the religion I was brought up in. I don't want to be a casualty for people's ignorance. So again, I don't understand if somebody's trying to tell you something, even if it's not something you don't know, why can't you be open-minded to something that's better for you? Have the option. Any conspiracy theorist that's been deemed as such has been proven to be correct. And they're validated by your government. So I'm very confused. If I'm a conspiracy theorist, what should I call you? Because nobody likes to be called retarded anymore. But by definition, you're cognitively delayed. That's what retarded means. That's why they changed it to mentally challenged. But it seems to me that a whole lot of people that are deemed mentally challenged are more intellectual and more in tuned with logic than people running around here thinking they know what they're talking about. That's why I don't speak on other people as far as celebrities or whatnot, because I don't know how you think. I don't know what your deal is. I don't care. Until it's bothersome to the collective. I didn't want to talk about TD Jakes. I didn't. But you do weird stuff. And then when you say things, Queen Tina, if I get more notification, so I'm for all you listen, I'm linked to Queen Tina's Facebook page. I get so many notifications about your content not being monetized. Why? I got one today from like December. Okay,
Oh, you get them too? You can see them too?
I do.
They always. That's why I just say what I do. I'm getting ready to. I'm going to do a different channel, just for monetization because we be on here. But yeah, that's that Instagram, Facebook. It's crazy.
And that's the thing. Like, why don't we have our own thing? Shout out to Michi X. Like, she has her own network. Like, why don't we have our own things? The United Empires of Akibalon, we pay for our website. My Clearest Conscious, I pay for my website. And we are going to write it off. We're going to write it off. You heard? You know, because why not? It's an expense. So why not? Why don't you all support? Like, what do you want? We give stuff away. Like, shout out to Curly Girl. Like, and I'm sorry, I've been busy. I feel like a Little Mermaid. I'm a very busy woman, and I haven't got all day. It don't cost much. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. That's how I feel. Like, I'm busy, and y'all busy judging, but you're not doing anything. If you're as busy as we are, you respect that. You know, I don't have time to get on here talking to you about what I ate and what, weird stuff, but we try to empower you.
Most of our people want to be entertained. You got a handful of people that want stuff, and most of our people want to be entertained.
We do.
And that's just it. Was Kathy saying something?
She was about to say something. You went on mute, Queen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually hit it again. I was saying that's what we're used to. We're used to being entertained. You know, I was listening to part of Malcolm X's speech about what was to come. And then, that was so long ago, I think in the 60s. And then look where we are now. We're constantly being entertained.
And as we're entertained, we keep quoting Martin Luther King and Malcolm X out of ignorance. You see what I'm saying? Like that it's just asinine. Why don't you read something? Do your research. You don't have to believe. I don't know everything.
It's like, are we going to talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X forever, or are we going to raise up new ones? It's kind of like they got us where we only want entertainment and we only argue about the past and we're never focused on the future. And our future stops at reparations. So we don't make no plans for anything else. And that's why I came up with the micronation, because we got to start doing something and start building something for ourselves. Because we got all these black leaders and entertainers and not a dime for reparations, but we see them kick out billions of dollars. The IRS, everybody.
Yep. And you don't need a bill, a special bill or anything. They just pass it. Okay, immigrants need money. Okay, signed.
And that's why we got the sexy reds and all that. That's why we know more about sexy red than who handles passing bills and laws and who our Senate is.
And they always distract us with those things. Like, why is it entertaining to watch this chick? Like, why is it entertaining? Like, it's shameful. And again, I'm not mad
Because
about it. Like, I'm disgusted because this is what drives us. Nah,
it
they
came a point where we used to laugh. Oh, I just want to be happy. We struggle, and that's Black people excuse. Oh, we gotta enjoy ourselves sometime. We gotta enjoy ourselves. So we started going to work instead of fighting for our rights. We started taking vacations with our oppressors. Then when we took the vacation with our oppressors, we complained we being beat and stuff because we have been programmed by Martin Luther King to run into white people and intruding on their stuff instead of fighting and getting our own plot of land and forcing them to make this our own city and county where we have our own governors and moving that Black population out of these designated shitholes called the ghettos.
well, no, they're
We
building
don't want
ghettos
that. We've
for the
been
immigrants, though.
to complain and invest on white people stuff. We ain't that. It's so stupid when you look back at it. While we building and keep talking about they don't give us jobs, we got jobs. We won't just do our own job for us. We got all these people. Black Lives Matter raised 100 million or almost $1 billion. All these organizations can raise money, but we ain't got one Black town owned by Black people that we built for ourselves. And that's the problem with these activists and people, because the money is not being used for our future. And that's why they keep saying no reparations, because you consider most of these, everybody consider themselves just like the white people. They don't see no color. But if we had safe places and little nations and tribes, then we could say, hey, we want reparations for this. Just like them immigrants that's coming in, we don't know the game. They are they have money set to the side, not trying to be funny, for foreigners who seeking refuge. We are the problem is we're stuck in a country that is doing it to us, and we don't know how to separate ourselves and consider ourselves foreigners too, seeking refuge, and we can get some of that money. And this is what I was trying to tell y'all at the beginning when we were starting the micronation, is that we got to strip ourselves from our American status, and that's the whole point of being nationalists. And or but we dress up, everything is entertainment. Most Black people want to say they are more or something, but you still not getting foreign benefits. We need to do what we need to do so we can get those same foreign benefits instead of keep crying and complaining. I'll land my plane.
And I agree with that. That's why I said for me, it's not important. Like, I think that knowing our ethnicity and our culture and our heritage and our roots are important. I don't really care about the white Black situation. I don't care about the diversity for me, because let me tell you, I had a situation like, so with this job I just started with this nurse. She's a white woman, and she made a statement to me. She said, and I've never heard it put this way. She said, we were walking to this facility. She said, I just want to let you know, if you ever have an issue with anybody that comes to you with a problem about your melanation, let me know. I never heard her put like that. She was trying to be sincere. A problem, my
What did she
melanation.
say?
She said, "Have you ever had a problem with somebody that has a problem with your melanation, your melanin? Let me know."
Well, that was good because she ain't call you Black, because that lets you know that's a white person that probably done heard. And then and I want to start even more now that I look at it, is we're gonna become nationalists. Don't call me Black, even though I don't care now because it's too confusing. But she kind of like did it respectfully.
That's what I'm saying. It was. I never heard it put like that. And my thing was, I felt like it was sincere, but honey, I don't worry about those things. As a nurse, I've been in this for a long time. Like, I've been called a nigger bitch, by, old white. They don't bother me. Like, you're sitting in a pool of urine and feces calling out my name. Like, I will politely remind you of your situation and still give you care. So that
But you
doesn't
know what,
bother me.
Queen? You know what,
Mhm.
Queen? I think it should bother us because I worked in the nursing home. And the problem is these old white people get away with doing that shit too much. They do it all the time.
Here's my thing.
And I think it's kind of like a Monique situation. A lot of black nurses need to start standing up because these white people will refuse care from a black person, and we should start refusing to take care of these old racist, riggedy white people. And then when they act that way, ain't no telling what they done did to destroy another black person life. But I seen it. We've been in nursing. I worked in the hospital. I seen it all the time. And my problem is they get away with it too much.
And here's my thing. Like, I can't, for me, I can't, there's nothing I can do with that. For me, my purpose and my passion, my drive is to provide care. And as far as that,
There you go with that kumbaya bullshit. You got to start looking
I
at.
knew you gonna say that. No, let me tell you though, like I said, when you say shit like that, then
Turn
like
around and
you're
have you
sitting in a
lynched.
wheelchair. I willed you to the dining room. I'm feeding you. You can't feed yourself. You can't clean yourself. Like, do you think that what you're saying? I will politely tell you, hold on, sir, ma'am, in your cognition, in your clarity of mind, because I deal with dementia patients. In your clarity, while you're here for just a second, just know that by definition, a quote unquote nigger is da, da, da. So who's acting ignorant? Like, I don't mind saying that it's not out of line, it's not disrespectful. As long as you're clear with your nonsense, I'll remind you why you sitting where you're sitting. That doesn't bother me because you're not in a position to make moves like I can make moves. I don't deal with that nonsense. Like the girls say, you know, if somebody has a problem with your melanin, in all my years of nursing, like some of the shit they say, like, it's not personal. It's how you, whatever your situation is. So, but now look at you. My servitude has nothing to do with you, but what I won't be is in your position. That I can guarantee you by any means necessary. So that's not my issue. There's something wrong with you. And that's why you are where you are. You know, I can give, I tell you all the time.
But when you say there's something wrong, these are the same people that probably lynched somebody. I used to take care of these old white people, and they was talking about how they popped that NIGGA and buried them in the backyard. I think we've been tricked in order to take these jobs that black people have to carry an oath where it's okay for white people. They're not going to never be called a derogatory name that traces back to history and murder, and raping and all that. But we do.
And you know what, for me, I think, I don't know, maybe because I was brought up where I wasn't, again, taught, I wasn't raised in understanding prejudice, because like my grandparents, even my grandmother, like they were in the South, but like, you know, there was segregation, but there was no true harm, you know. So like for me, growing up in diversity, I learned my foundation is you will respect me. And so if you
But
watch the
Queen, that's the
Monique thing,
problem. And this is, not trying to be funny. That's the problem. This is why nothing gets done. Because you say you grew up in diversity. No, you didn't. You grew up in a world where you had to ignore what was being done to black people. And we calling it diversity. We
right.
okay with it. And that's why nobody ever fights for the right for black women or black nurses to be treated with dignity with these racist people. We are the only ones going there and have to hear white people say the N word and hey.
And I agree with you with that. But I think my thing is, I've learned, like for me, and even like growing up with religion and like as an adult now, separating my own wisdom and my own understanding from my foundation with religion, I would never discount that. But it's been a strong cornerstone. But I can kind of perceive things a little differently, to where I don't want to adhere to the whole Bible concept or whatnot, but I know who I am and I know my power, my authority. I feel like with us here, like that's very understood. So Queen Tina just dropped off. I'm seriously gonna come back on before I say this. Y'all like and share. If you're in the room, please say hey in the comments so we can see you. But my thing is with that, I'm waiting for Quintina to jump back in. Hang on. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna hold that thought because I want to comment to her or respond to her. I'm gonna play this comment really quickly. Hang on. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to United Empires of Akivalon. Like, we're super cool. We're super cool. And it's so cool to talk to one another all the time. And I know we're all busy, but like we always connect. So it's super awesome. While I'm waiting for Queen Tina to jump back in, I'm going to play this message on stereo. Shout out to Leonard.
Shout out to you. I never even thought of that when you said like about protesting, like you have to get a permit in the first place, which is like seems a little antithetical to a protest, and then there's like a whole time limit on it, and then like when you watch the news, it's like they're like waiting for that your permitted time to be up, and then it's just like that's a good point. That's like I think, wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that that comment. Leonard, if you want to jump in on YouTube for the conversation, feel free to do that. But thank you for that comment. Thank you for tuning in. Queen Tina's back. So I was saying,
I'm back. I don't know what happened.
No, darn YouTube. So yeah, so I think for me, like learning those kind of things and like not making it like a religious kind of Christian thing, but like knowing who I am and like my godlike authority, you'll just do what you're told. Like there's no reason for you not to. I'm like the most compassionate, genuine, giving person that a lot of people know. So like I don't know why people think that it's okay to mess with me, like to go there with me. But like if you come over here with that nonsense, then I guarantee you God has put you in my hands so you can pray all you want to, but it's gonna be your detriment. So that's how I move. Like I don't care what people say about little weird shit. Like you're just being ignorant, and I don't have time for that. I don't have time. I don't. And again, like I don't understand why you so broke, you so broken, and like you're over here talking crazy. You just wasting your time. Like, what's your point? So I'm not for that. For me, I'm not for all these Karens and weird stuff. Like, I will call the damn police on you. I don't care how people put. I will call the police in a heartbeat. I will record you. I will kick you in your throat. Like, I just don't come over here with that craziness. I don't understand.
I hear you.
So
yeah,
we got Leonard on stereo. Hey Leonard, you should come on YouTube with us and join us.
So how would I go to YouTube and there's like it's similar to this, right?
Yeah, we're on here chatting live.
Live, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure it out.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a link. Hang on just a second. I'm gonna send you a link in the back chat.
I forgot about stereo. I gotta download the app again.
Darn it, Queen.
I had forgot all my stuff got erased when I changed phones.
I hate that. I cannot stand that. I need to change my phone. My phone is so janky.
Yeah, I pay for iCloud service. Ain't none of my stuff go over, and it's crazy.
Okay, hold on, Leonard. I'm sending you the link right now.
I'll have to set up I don't have a YouTube. Sure, it won't be that hard to do it.
Yeah, go ahead and set it up. Come on over, chat with us. Yeah, so Leonard's been over on and my phone's about to die. Leonard's been over on stereo. He's cool to talk to. I like talking to open-minded people.
You guys are. It's like definitely inspiring. I mean, like I left my message a while back about the protest, and listening, it was like very. Don't want to say inspired, but yeah, definitely like more about like figuring out a path forward as opposed to saying like, you know what I mean? Like we're like moving away from the protest to like, okay, so now what do you do though? Like after the protest or whatever, like how do you encourage others to like I have like my own business. And I think you guys were talking about like starting your own network and stuff, right? Like that kind of those messages and tools to teach would like have I think maybe more of a value. Because I always try to teach my friends how to like start a business, like the first steps to do that, as opposed to go, I don't know, like when you can ruminate with people and they might go, oh, it's so hard right now. I'm like, yeah, it definitely is, but little baby steps in the path to get to like a place where you can generate your own capital or whatever you might want to do, like start a network on, like you guys were talking about, like an entertaining like a podcast network or something like that.
Right.
Is pretty encouraging, right? So
I don't think it's not hard. I don't know, Queen Tina, like I said, I know you have your cleaning business down south. Do you think it was hard to start your business?
Was it hard to do what, Queen?
To start your business?
To sell it? What you mean?
To start your business, to start your cleaning business.
Oh, it wasn't hard. It's just hard when you in the cleaning field and you got predominantly white people who own most of the properties who only see Mexicans as cleaners and stuff. So it's a struggle with keeping contracts and getting contracts because of the stereotypes. Most of the time, we started cleaning everybody's houses, but yet we're the least people in this cleaning business, and it's a $1 billion business. So it's not hard to start. It's just hard to get in business, and I think that's almost all Black businesses.
I agree with that. And you know what?
yeah,
I agree with that. It sucks because for me, like I know I helped my mom do her cleaning business. I did her website. Leonard, I just sent you a link to if you want to join a StreamYard and chat with us.
okay.
But I helped my mom start her cleaning business, and she does medical assistance right now, and she's so busy, and I pay for that website too, and that's fine. I'm glad to be blessed to be able to do it. But I know my husband and I were looking at a cleaning business, and we were looking online, and it was like $20 for like 2 hours. I'm not trying to be any kind of way. I know my kids and my husband say whatever they want. They call me racist, and I don't give two craps. But I was like, I guarantee you they're Mexicans, they're Hispanics. I guarantee you.
I guarantee you, yes, because they come over here. Most of them are illegal, and they come over here and they work under one person's name. So $10 versus their money is a lot. So this is why it's hard, because these white businesses and these corporations hire these illegals. That's why Trump was doing what he was doing, and that's why ICE was out here, because they get to get all this free work. And these people doing like you say, $20 for an hour, and usually they want they want to lowball you, and that's what I run into. They want me to work for those prices, and I'll be damned.
And here's what I saw with that $20. It was like you had $20 for that 2 hours, but then you had to sign a contract for X amount of months and all this stuff. So they're not stupid. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be mad at them. I'm more disappointed in the fact that we keep complaining about, the detriment, but there's no call to action. There's no boots in the ground. I don't want to
We just sit back and let them. It's because we really can't do anything, and now we see that they don't open up the borders. So how bad you think it's really gonna get when nobody speaks English, and that person looks like that person? I watch them share each other ID. So they get all the jobs, and it's a problem.
What's that too? Like,
what did you say, Leonard?
How would you especially if you have a cleaning business, right? Like, how can you compete with that?
Exactly.
Well, the people undercutting it, are the people paying them too aren't paying taxes as well, right? They're just paying them cash. So that's already like that's a whole different set of like rules in a sense, right? Because people coming in, they're going to get paid probably under the table. Not like, so you have to compete. If you have your own business, you have taxes to pay with that. There's a bunch of other things. So now you're competing with like a whole other, you know, group of individuals that aren't, you know, in that same framework of having to pay the overhead, taxes, business, marketing, all that stuff, right? So as a business, like an American, as a born or landed American, you have to pay the taxes, not just like get cash. Well, maybe if you can make it work, but like here and there, but still be like almost impossible to compete with. You know what I mean? People like landed, like the big wave of millions of asylum seekers, right? Like how can you compete with them? You know
I
what
like
I
how
mean?
you
You know what I'm
put that.
saying?
I like how
Exactly.
you
You
said asylum
can't.
seekers.
Yeah.
You already said asylum seekers and not immigrants. That's important.
They
You have to realize
immigrants.
that because that's important because they're not called like immigrants or like refugees anymore. They're being informed to identify as asylum seekers. You know,
Well,
so
they're
if you
not. They're
understand,
immigrants, and they're over here
Yeah.
illegally, and most of them are from China.
Yeah, they're from everywhere. Like, here's the thing, I'm trying to be careful. Like, you know, I mean, the history of the pilgrim types. They're like, you know, it's a delicate thing without, you know, falling into the trap of going like, coming over here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But here's the thing though, like, I, you know, there was like, you know, like to say to protect the border for a long time definitely push people into the
I think we're
category
hearing
of
every other word.
like you know, like Republican, like, you know, like real right wing types. But at this point, it's like you're seeing it on the news where you have all these homeless people, right, on the street, and then you have, like you just said, the asylum seekers are put up in hotels, right, and like the people who are homeless are still homeless, which is like, again, it's pretty crazy to think about that for a second, right? Like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't, you know, if you're seeking asylum, but when you have millions of people flooding the country, right, at the same time that you have millions of people homeless that can't access the same amount, like same resources as the people that are already here, that are like also asylum seekers. If you think about it, like refugees in their own country, like should they get that same thing? Like why you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It seems a little bit.
And those
Crazy.
same refugees who are laid up in hotels are the ones that I work with them. I'm here in Florida. They're not just getting the benefits. What I'm saying is they're getting the damn jobs too. So they're making money on top of getting money because there is no way to identify them. They use each other ID. And then when I go out here to try to get a contract, I've lost many contracts because they look at me stupid because I want to get paid a livable wage. Used to these so-called asylum seekers, these immigrants, these illegals over here working for $5 an hour.
Yeah.
but you know that
So
that's sad too. But like you have to look.
they get
Here's
20
my
of them,
thing.
and they'll do all the work all day, and they'll work for $5 an hour. But the way
And
they
that's
do the
my thing. My
paperwork
thing
is
is like
covered
I
up.
can't be. My issue is not with the immigrants. My issue is with the government.
It is. It's with them because they're coming over here. If you went to their country, you think they're gonna let you lay next to them? Don't you think they're gonna slit your throat?
Well,
It's both of them.
like, but I would say that it's not fair. Like, because there's like a, like, again, I'm with you know, I think we all feel like, okay, you know, we're not like, if you're an asylum seeker, you need help for sure. Nobody's denying that. But when you have millions of people flooding, like we're talking, like that's not even an exaggeration anymore. It's like millions of people. Like they're just like, it's crazy. The people on the border, what do you call them? Like your border guards or whatever, like are overwhelmed. There's literally millions of people. I think there's like 3 million in the last count? So I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you even like process all of those people, first of all, right? And then suddenly there's an instant budget to house all these millions of people. Where it's like, okay, well, where was that budget to house the people that were already here that needed the housing? You know, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's like, I'm not trying to say asylum seekers don't need help, for sure, whatever. But like, I feel like if you're like a citizen and you've gone through the whole rigmarole of being a citizen, paying the taxes, and, you know, doing all of it, like all the years of being a citizen, at least cut a budget for those people as well, at the very minimum.
I agree with that. I agree.
Yes.
And that's my thing. Like, we have all this money. Like, nobody's saying anything about us printing all this extra money that's not real and send it to other countries for detriment. Like with the whole Ukraine, Israel thing, they ask, if you want to stop the war, then stop sending money to fund the war.
Yeah.
But when
But
you have APEX, they say the shadow government running our government where everybody has dual citizenship in Israel, then that's what you get. When we start, because America is so racist, you won't even let your own people run the Senate or run the government. You got all these foreigners running the government, and everybody is looking out for their own country while we're working like slaves. And that's everybody in America, because everybody in America is not benefiting.
And that's not. I
We're
think
only working.
at some point there are fingers to be pointed toward the powers that be, but there is still a call of accountability to the people. If I didn't vote for Trump or Biden, whoever I voted for, that's not my president, but he is the president. So how do we make them accountable? How do we make Congress accountable?
Because the problem is, Angie, the president is not accountable for that. That's why
That's what
we
I'm
have to
saying.
start. It's the Senate.
That's
The
what I'm saying.
Senate runs
How
the
do we make
government.
them accountable?
Yeah, you can't hold it accountable when we not voting in the Senate. We only get mesmerized to vote for president. The president is over the executive. They're over the war. They're over the military. The only thing that Biden is doing is the military. He's over the borders and stuff like that. The people that's in the Senate is writing the bill that's giving them this money.
And I agree with that. There's
And
a lack
so
of
when we don't
accountability.
know our Senate, we don't they have a Senate election every 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, or I forgot, but we don't know because it's not at the same time. Every state it rotates, so nobody knows when they're vote. That's why they keep staying in the same seats.
I
I
agree
think
with that.
it was during Trump time when the seats were flipping. So Trump's presidency was kind of special, and they don't want y'all to know that, because that is when I think when Trump was elected, it happened to land on the same election where the Senate and the House was being elected at the same time. But that's not going to be the same this presidential election. So we need to be paying attention to when are they electing the Senate, who's the House whip, the majority leader. Those are the people that's allowing it. We just sit back and let Mitch McConnell gobble turkey neck just still do what he do.
Nancy Pelosi, all them. And the problem is that we keep saying we want to get rid of these old ancient people, but
why are they old and ancient? Because they've been sitting in the Senate seat. We don't have many presidents, but we keep the same senators.
We keep voting them in.
Actually, we're not voting them in. They're voting themselves in, because we don't even know when the elections are going. Black people never pays attention to the Senate election, and they don't want us to. They don't want black votes. They only want black votes for the president, so they can use that president as a puppet in front while they do the damage behind. When Biden wrote the crime bill, he was not the president. He was a senator.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's so many votes. There's so many votes to do too. Like voting all the time is like voter apathy at some point too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, next 2 years, okay, you have to vote for this, and then you have to vote for that, and then vote. It's like at some point you're like, but I also have to do my minimum wage job, right? So it's like people are like, okay, exhausted from even voting. And then the other thing I was wanting to say for a while is like, I get the sentiment like I don't know. I think there might be, is it 2 or 3 people on this? On the show. I can't.
We got 3 queens. We got 3 queens. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I feel like you guys are doing the work. Like, because if like what I've heard so far is you're like kind of encouraging and providing information on tools to encourage people to as opposed to just being like fed up. Like, you're kind of going, okay, well, next step is, okay, you want to take control of like what you can control around you. I might be ad-libbing a bit, but like what I've got from like listening before I joined was like sort of teaching people how to look around, like how can they control their surroundings, right? It's like, try to vote for your Senate. That's a good thing. I would agree, right? But also, I think what you guys are doing as well, the message you're putting out there is like kind of like mentoring and teaching people how to actually make change. Like, because you're saying protesting is one thing, right? But that's just like addressing that there's a problem. But then putting out that message about okay, well now how are you going to make change around you? You know what I mean? Because trying to tackle like the government machine.
I like him. I like him.
Yeah, follow Leonard the guy on Stereo.
So it's like very refreshing. I feel like it's like little things. I don't know. I feel like we were talking earlier about like I was trying to encourage my friends to start a business, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." And it's like once you do it, it's like you look back, it wasn't that difficult, right? So I don't say like choose what business you want to do. It's like go through the steps of like I try to teach them baby steps, like not calling it baby steps to minimize it, but like okay, well, first thing you're going to do is go into whatever registry or whatever you have in your local area, right? And then look that up and like just give them like bite-sized pieces, because by the time they actually have their own whatever they're going to do, their business, like they'll have the whole system of processing capital ready to go when that opportunity actually gets to them, right? So like they might have an opportunity, but then if they don't have that like you say, like that sort of like business infrastructure, if you want to call it that, already, they'll like usually just go, I don't have a business, and they pass on it, and then they're the same sort of problem. So hearing what you guys are saying is like, I think you're talking about like, what are we gonna have? Like people aren't doing it. I'm like, well, I'm hearing people do something. Like, and you guys are like kind of the thing you're talking about right now is like this kind of message for people is more, I think, valuable than sometimes you hear commonly where people are trying to solve these big, huge, overarching political sort of national problems, but it's like that's a huge, especially right now, it's like almost insurmountable.
Impossible.
But you still make change locally. Yeah,
Exactly.
a little bit of a mouthful. So,
They say when you eat a big cookie, how do you eat a cookie? You got to eat it bite by bite. And like you said, yes, I'm glad you got our message, because that it is the message that black, white, whatever. If you're fed up with America and everybody is about what's right, then we just got to stop playing the game. You can't, if you get your own land and put your RV or manufacture home, not be the best, but you ain't sitting in an apartment building complaining that the landlord discriminating against you or they not fixing this or fixing that. It's like we gotta go back to depending on ourselves. Start growing some food and stop complaining about everything you gotta buy. It's like you said, we gotta start controlling the little things around us. And as if we all start controlling our atmospheres start turning into little tribes. Again, little tribes start turning into nations. This is how we got here in America. We just was built with the wrong values.
I agree.
absolutely.
And it's the little things that do matter. I remember watching an interview with a French couple, and they said they came to America with the American dream, and they came over. They were like, "This is a nightmare. Like we broke as hell over here with this American dream." Over in France, they had like healthcare. They had like maternity leave. They had paternity leave.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like 6 weeks. It was like 6 months. Like it was real. Like they were like, "This is crap." But they were in a different economic situation, So I think with the refugees and the asylum seekers, they are in crappy situations, as are Americans, as are Black Americans, and I think that's the same when we talk about like the situation with Ukraine and Palestine, and we say, as Black Americans, that doesn't matter to us. It matters to me because it resonates with what looks like home. Who's to say that it doesn't come and hit here? America's due for a catastrophe because we've been so corrupt and so ratchet. We've been overdue. So for us to think that it's not coming, yes, you do need to buy your own food. You do need to grow your own food, buy your own land. Bill Gates is buying up all the land in the United States, where it's going to be only able for people to rent. You're not going to own anything. So we need to think like that on an individual level and then collectively. When we talk about buying like the RVs, for me when I was growing up, RVs and mobile homes, no disrespect, but that's something for me. It resonated with white poverty, white
And
see
that's a
my white
stereotype.
trash.
And the funny thing is that that's the stereotype even for white people, because at the end of the day, them white people own that. While black people were sitting in projects. But
Exactly.
yet we were saying they were trailer trash. But I kept saying, why ain't no white people in the projects with black people? Because they were owning their trailers. They got government assistance, but black people didn't know that Section 8 will pay for your if you were buying. There's a lot of little things we won't look at the law. We're ignorant of it. But yes, I'm just saying that was a stereotype for, I think, to discourage us from owning something of our own. But
It's all
we
a stereotype.
struggling to pay $2,000 and $3,000 to live in these high rises, and we could be paying $1,000 a month and owning our own property and our own space where we won't be bothered.
Exactly. Exactly. So when we talk about taxes, like I said, like right now, people are filing taxes. If you don't have a child dependent, then you are probably not happy about tax time right now. But that's the joke. I remember working for $2.13 an hour plus tips as a server, as a waitress, and I got $5,000 tax checks back. And it didn't add up. But like now, me being married and making a lot of money, like I owe every year. And it's like, why? Like you didn't calculate right. You didn't know how much money you want to steal from me before I got my check. Like we don't have a voice. We don't raise our voices. We're just like, okay, they're gonna take our money. Okay. But every time I drive down the street in Indiana, I feel like I'm driving down the pothole to hell. Like you can't fix these potholes. Like where's my taxes going? If I'm a senior citizen living and I'm paying for a school, township school taxes. I don't have children as a senior. Why am I paying this? Like
But look
let's
at the
make it have
seniors who
sense.
retired. My mom barely can buy groceries. She worked for the state and retired from the state. But yet these foreigners, these illegals, these immigrants, or you could call them asylum seekers if you want, are coming over here getting benefits that I know my mother contributed to, and she can't even get anything because of what she's retired on. You know how we have to, everything has to be budgeted. You can't get food
Yes.
stamps because you make too much. You can't get this.
I wish I
It's
could
a
get a
slap in
food
the
stamp
face.
right now. I wish I
I
could
know
get a
that's
food
right.
stamp.
Give me government assistance.
Yeah.
Hell.
I used to be embarrassed. I used to
Why
be
do
embarrassed.
America, if they can give foreigners stuff, they should be able to give Americans food card because we contribute to this country.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're gonna say something about food stamps. I grew up like welfare, or whatever. So like that, there was a stigma around it. Right? Like then when you go through it, it's interesting. Like especially the culture in like a hyper capitalist world. There's just like like whether you were blue or red, left, right, whatever. It's like there's like this message that having a window, like they call it a handout, right? Like especially in a capitalist, hyper capitalist world, like they can't see the fact that like you have, in order to have a flourishing country, like you have to take, like you brought up the French couple, right? They might pay more taxes back in France, right? But you like all the services they get, so schooling, like public, like rec centers, like healthcare, all these extras they don't have to pay out of pocket for. So they might have to pay like, but they actually get something from their like membership, we'll call it taxes, right? They actually get a good, like a clubhouse or whatever you want to call it, good roads or whatever, good schools, right? So when they pay, sure they have to pay, but like they also don't have to pay for that out of their pocket when their money. Do you know what I mean? They actually get something for it, but they might have it like when they get paid, they might not get their they might get more taxes taken off, but they're actually getting something back for it, which is key. Like especially now, where you have, like you made a good point, where you have people coming in to the country right now, and they're getting like definitely makes me uncomfortable saying it's like all these people coming in and getting all these like housing and stuff. But at the same time, like the thing is, it's how like that money was there before. Okay, so why wasn't that provided for people who are like homeless, be it veterans or not, or whoever, or people who are like, not even homeless. Why not people just on the brink, like on the brink of it? Like what? Like that money was clearly there because it's all of a sudden that now it's like they have all this money to pay for these buildings and these hotels and stuff for these people, right? So it was all clearly already there. You know what I mean? So it's like why like why not provide that for your people? Yeah, but there's this message that's deeply rooted on both sides of the spectrum, whatever, left or right, is that it felt like, oh, somebody's getting a free ride. Okay, well, here's the thing. You take care of your bottom and the whole country gets raised up. So it's like, that like people think if you give free money that, everything will fall apart, right? Well, that's been tried for quite a while. And look at the result, right? It's like, no, like take care of your bottom and everybody above that gets like pushed up as well. So like the actual, what do you call that? Not the cost of living, but your like the actual world you live in around you. Like everything. The streets are better, the schools are better, the people are more educated, they produce more money. Like you know what I mean? It just actually benefits the whole country. But that's the challenge in a hyper capitalist environment where people
You're
actually
right.
against themselves a little bit.
And the problem with that is that it's a matter of them losing a lack of control. So if people have enough to not live paycheck to paycheck, they said that if you are a single person, you need at least make $60,000 a year to not live paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible when you're being so greedy? There's enough for everybody,
And
but
they
there's
haven't
so
even
few, but
raised
there's
minimum
no voice.
wage.
Exactly, but there's no voice. Like, but when we say if everybody doesn't pay their light bill this month, their gas bill this month, well, I can't do that. I don't want to be able to disconnect. If everybody did it, that wouldn't be the case. What are we afraid of? You don't have anything. You're not benefiting. You're going to work for a job. Whether you want to work for yourself or somebody else, if it's not beneficial, there's no job that's going to make you a millionaire, that's going to make you financially independent. So what are you afraid of in stepping out and doing what you want to do? It's going to cost you, but it costs you anyways to be under somebody else's control. So what are we afraid of? We're not winning as a society. We're not winning. And unless you're in that top 1%, you're screwed. It's 1%. 1%. It's a lot, but it's not nothing. 1% rules the whole world. There are 6 families that own every kind of corporation. 6 families. Does that make any sense to anybody? Queen Tina Berry's on here. She has her own cleaning business. It's like Queen Tina providing jobs, but her employees make more than she does. That's what's happening with the government. Our government officials, elected officials, make more money than we do. How does that does not make any sense. We talk about it, we complain about it, but we don't make any action. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
That's what you guys are doing right now. Like this is the action. Like this is the inspiring, conversations that are gonna spark something in people when they hear it. Because it's like while you were saying that, I was thinking it's like the only thing I could think of right now is to like sort of say to people around you, it's like, no, you shouldn't be working for anybody else at all. Like to tell, like, especially if you have a business that feels a little antithetical, you know what I mean? But like in a way, you want to encourage more people to have their own business in a hyper-capitalist country because it's the big box stores like Walmart's and the Home Depot, whatever these big corporations that like what happened was we just sort of allowed them to expand to this point where we wanted a $5 T-shirt, right? But the only way we could get that is if the store, Walmart or whatever big store came in, right? Be it XYZ, right? They crushed all the mom and pop businesses. One Walmart probably like 50 businesses or more. They put them on a business, right? So now that person that want a $5 T-shirt, but now there's nowhere for you to work. So now you have to work in a store that sells $5 t-shirts. So you can only get like a wage that's sort of is sort of like a wage that allows that store to sell like a cheap t-shirt, right? And so these big stores actually pushed and crushed that sort of like, like what I'm trying to get at is you have this message that's told to everybody. Okay, you want to, it's land of the free, make your own money, American dream, right? Then you have these entities that are actually like working against that American dream. These like big, one percenters, like these like small families that are forcing people to be minimum wage, and minimum wage is crazy shit. Especially if minimum wage is only like what, like $5 an hour, whatever it is. That's insane, right? Yeah, like they're working against the overarching message that is touted. The American dream, right? They're the enemies of the people. At the same time, trying to say that they're the spirit of the American dream. It's like, well, no, because if those mom and pop shops existed, like separate clothing stores, separate tire stores, separate food stores, right? People working for those mom and pop shops, well, they wouldn't be getting $5 an hour. They'd be getting $20 an hour because it's like people can get paid more and then they can afford more, right? And you have it more localized and more decentralized to these like, massive corporations, right? So, but again, like as we talk about those big ideas, like that big sort of picture of the whole national problem, it becomes overwhelming, right? Go back and say the same thing to you guys. It's like these kind of conversations, these types of things will tell people, okay, look, like let me just chip away. Let me start my own little corner over here and start building that little, independence, like creating a funnel to redirect the money from those big box stores or whatever, so that you can start controlling the economics. And I think, without going too deep into it, what I will say is when I started my own business, I had a realization through that process that, like, beyond just being independent and having my own economic means or whatever, but there was a deeper thing that I realized was that owning your own business actually is a way to create your own community and like sort of own country within a country. And people always ask, like, what do you mean by that? So I'm like, okay, well, this is what I mean. When you control your own cash flow, so you have account receivable coming in, right, like your clients. But then if you have a business, you have to buy, say, cleaning products or whatever, right? So now you can choose where you spend your money. So to a point, you get to interact with only the people you want to interact with, right? So now you're kind of creating your own world within a country. So you start going, all right, well, I need to buy this. So I like buying from whoever, this person. You know what I mean? So you start, slowly you start just like exchanging capital in that little world. Because if you really think about it, how many people do you really interact with in a day? There's only a certain set amount of people, right? So in a business, you start doing that. You don't have to work with people who are jerks or people who are ignorant or whatever. You start when you have your business. Well, clients are always going to be, like you're not always going to get the best ones, but like slowly you can start, like sort of investing in other people that you like to, instead of, putting that money back into like the bigger box stores or whatever, you can start building this community of businesses. And then through that, you can start growing that, like without having to live next to each other on land, you can start doing it slowly beforehand, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Let me say, you brought up the Walmart situation. I'll say this. I stopped shopping at Walmart years ago because I was disturbed by the fact that the Walmart CEO makes more money before he goes to lunch than all his employees in a day. And it bothered me. But I started to watch, and people are complaining about working at Walmart and injustices or whatever, but you still work there. Like, why would you be in a place that's not conducive to you? Why would you be in a situation?
No other hope. Most of the time when people are looking for jobs, it's a big hustle every day. That's why we need to do a documentary on just showing it and the reason why you can't break people's mind, because we're having babies and people are growing fast and the economy is growing and everybody needs to buy something. So most of the time, like I'm from down with a hood or the the predominantly black place where um, these small country towns and stuff, they ain't many jobs. And so you got 1,000 people looking for jobs, and all you got is the hospital, Walmart, Dollar General. Like he said, they got rid of all the mom and pop. I
Mm-hmm.
remember the time when it was mom and pop. When you look at the old pictures and you see most of the time it was a lot of different stores because you had the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker.
Yeah.
And
Right.
everybody had somewhere to go to, and you respect it because that person respected their job. You everybody exchanged stuff, and so like he said, big corporations came and took that away. So our people now don't have the mind. Now a lot of them started going online, starting online businesses and stuff like that. But then you see what Temu and all them are doing with TikTok now. They're all rushing through and selling the stuff at the lower price, and you found out Amazon was competing against its customers. So our people don't really have jobs, and that's the problem, is that that's the only the options that they have when it's time to you have to get a job. And most of the kids now are being pushed out and saying you're grown by 16, 17, 18, and these corporations are here to swallow them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that's why, like, again, shout out to D Mays with Mind Games Uncut. In Atlanta, building up the community, the black community, that's important. We forget about the youth when they're our future. Unfortunately, and this future is scary as hell, but they're our future. So why are we not investing? I have a loved one. I've been in the hospital, and a loved one going through with her son, and she was saying she has another son, and he wants his driver's license. And she's like, that's, what's the big deal? It's not important to me. I ain't got time. Like, I had to struggle. So, like, what's the problem with him struggling? And I'm looking like, are you batshit crazy to something that you want your child to struggle because you struggled? That's crazy to me. It's so crazy to hear people anymore in their mindsets as far as our future. As a nurse, I'm scared. Like, there are certain people, like, I think if I got my hands on some damn oxycodone, like, I would say that shit, don't tell me something expires. Cause like, you try to put me in a nursing home, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the mugs, all of them, turn the fan on and cover up, and good night. Because I don't trust the mindset of this youth, because we're not building our youth up for success. Like my loved one, she was like, we, he needs freedom. His freedom. What about my freedom? I'm looking like, what the hell you mean? What about your freedom? You are a grown ass woman with a child. I don't understand that. I was telling
Well,
my sister. Go ahead.
no, but I don't want to cut you off, but like I get it from like not like high level, not understanding it, and like my point is this: like when I grew up, I got like kind of double dose. Like so, my parents divorced when I was 4, whatever. Long story short, here they were poor on the farm, the poor country, and then she was government housing in the city. So I could it was like double, sort of double experience of that in like I so that kind of message was in the household, a lot. It's like, well, we don't. I remember my mom saying stuff like, well, if they want to go to school, like on their own, like all that kind of message. And there was a time when I was a kid going like, I didn't have a choice. Like, well, that's crazy. Cause like I like what you're saying, like that. But looking back on it, I kind of understand it. Cause like if you're in that environment and like you had like they haven't had like you're just going through the rigmarole of it. I'm not saying that people should think that way, but I understand because of it just seems like the only way to have like a sense of like not like hopelessness, being like, well, that's the way it is. And I think I credit the reason like I was able to sort of transition out of it was because my mom moved around a lot, like so 12 times from kindergarten to grade 12, and we lived in some places for like longer than 2 years. So I think like a lot of different schools, and I never even knew I was poor for like majority of it because when you're living in government housing, everybody else is on the same level. But she decided this one time to move us to this like across the country to the suburb of an oil area. And like these kids you wouldn't classify them as rich, but like to me, I was like, what the hell? This is crazy. Everybody's talking about brands and stuff. So fast forward, why do I think that's important? it was difficult because I felt like ostracized. But what I got was, once I was able to make a friend, I got to touch. When I say touch, I'm using that term as like an abstract term. I got to see the inside of what the wealth or like the fundamentals of like an economically stable household was. I'd go to their friend's house and like I'd go in and I'm like, holy shit! Like it was like I was like holy shit! Like what if they find out I'm like I felt like an imposter. I had to like pretend that it wasn't like poor or whatever, right? But once I got through all that, what I realized was I think the big part of my ability to kind of was I was able to sort of see that somehow I was able to sort of like when I say touch, I was able to kind of go, oh shit, there's like a different avenue, and like my friend, really good friend Clayton's parents would always they always dumped like mentorship or information about you got this is why. I think like he didn't pay it too much mind, right? But I'm over there going, I'm just soaking it in, and so along the short is like I do understand why, especially if you're like a single parent and you're working like all this time, like 10 hours or whatever, you're not making anything, like it's really difficult. You may have like a bunch of kids that are like being rambunctious or whatever, right? So, but this is why I'm like, what I'm trying to say is like, I think that it's really important to sort of, if there is a way to kind of connect people like that, like, I don't know, if like, I think a big part of breaking out of that mindset, even if I go home, like when I go home and visit family, right, they still have this like, oh, like, so how's your business going? Oh yeah, what are you ripping them off? Or like it's all this mentality around like, I couldn't do that, or like you're a one-off, or like a very kind of pessimistic without like, even when I try to encourage, like I'm like, can I help you? Like I always like try to help financially or whatever. But like it's very difficult to break like people out of certain mindsets sometimes because it's very rigid, if that makes sense. So that's why I think like especially if kids could hear this type of, I go back to this all the time, but like if they could hear this kind of messaging, right, where it's like, all right, look, here's another path for you. Like here's a way to capitalize. Here's a way to do this without thinking that. Like, the message was before, I started my business, or before I separated from that sort of, that kind of dialogue, I thought you had to have like, you had to have like a bunch of money, like whatever, maybe $100, like more money than, like a lot of money, more money than I could ever get access to, right? That's what kind of the message I thought. Mm-hmm. But then like slowly realizing that you don't actually need a bunch of money to start a business. Well, depending on what business, right? But, kind of long-winded there, but I think what I'm trying to get to is like providing access to like this kind of information. I think is very important to inspire, whether it's a youth or somebody, a person who still has like that, desire to, I don't know, I don't know, grow or maybe,
yeah, right,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Let me ask you. I know we talked before. Remind me, what do you do as far as business?
So my business is there's two. So one's, it's called quantity surveying. It's land development. But what I do is I take blueprints. I measure them. So I measure everything, concrete, nuts and bolts, everything, all the way to the windows, doorknobs, everything. I quantify all of it, and then I measure off of like the market cost of that material. And then so like when they're like a client is like tendering it, so asking, let's say like a plumber to give a price, so get a multiple, they can use the actual tangible quantities that I take and measure off the drawings, and then they know if that person's like just throwing a wild number out there, so they can actually negotiate with them firmly. And I work with lenders a lot too, because like they don't know if the developer or the person asking for a loan is just like throwing a wild number out there. So that's one. But yeah, primarily, without going too long-winded here, it's working in land development.
Okay. Yeah. Before you go to the second one, let me ask: Did you have any educational background to prepare you for that, or?
So for me, I motivated myself at 16 years old, like went on my own, graduated somehow high school, like on time. Did all my friends got paid to go to school, their parents, I didn't. Luckily, I didn't look at it like back then, but I was around oil. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I got into oil and gas. So I worked for a long time to save up money. Went to university. That was like the book club, basically. Then I saved a bunch more money in oil and gas, and then like went to school for architecture and building engineering. It was like accelerated 2-year program, but and from there had to start, almost from scratch, because you can't just immediately open a business, right? You want to get experience, and then. But I already had worked in oil and gas for like 10 years kind of thing. So I kind of knew, like I was pretty confident about like how businesses worked at that time. I'm like 27 at that point. So I worked a couple of years. I didn't like the world that like your land development is filled with really nefarious, let's just call them old time people that are kind of ignorant and sort of like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like people are kind of rude. I didn't like that at all. Like, but it's riddled with that kind of blue. I don't want to say blue collar, but like that kind of underhanded, sporty type of low level dingy.
I get what you're saying.
Dingy mid. Yeah, so I was like, I'm done with this. Plus, I'm like, they were like, they called it sink or swim, but their sink or swim was like, we're not going to teach you anything. You have to do everything, like the whole job plus invoicing and accounting. I'm like, well. At that point, I'm like, well, I'm just going to open my business because I don't want to interact with all these like type of people. Open my own business, and I started with like I had 2 other business partners, which they tried to like possibly take a company over, but that was years back, and luckily all my clients had backed me up. But they wanted to throw in a bunch of money. I was like, no, I want to start from $0. So I started the whole thing from $0 in, outside of like. Just the cost of opening a corporation, whatever that is. It's like, it's not too much. It's like a few $100s or whatever. And they were like, no, we need a bunch of capital. I was like, no, we don't. We need to be a little hungry. And I think a part of me wanted to prove that you could do it without any like startup capital. Like we need a little bit of money for paying rent, but we all have that from our.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
That's what I think. May I ask you? Don't have to answer me, but may I ask you, like, what would you say roundabout if you want to answer? If you don't, that's fine. As far as like your educational costs, like, do you have student loans or?
So no, I don't have any student loans anymore. Like I had like saved up in oil and gas, so I had some money. But the cost of the schooling, it was an accelerated program. It was at a technical school, so it was. I think it worked out to about, let's call it, I think all around like maybe 15,000, maybe less than that for the 2 years. Okay. So like with everything included, and that's Canadian dollars. So American dollars probably like 12,000.
Okay. Right now, like as a nurse, I owe like it was like $20,000. I'm sure it's counting in interest. But that's my thing. When we go back to the immigrant thing, like I'm not in a position. I don't even want to be in a position to judge or make assumptions about things. And I have a great respect for humanity. But when it comes like with my student loans, I'm a nurse. Like I can't even get student loan forgiveness. I know I signed a contract as far as paying for this loan, and I do know like the one loan that does hold solid is a student loan in the United States. Every other loan you can write off, you can have bankruptcy, but that shit, they will take your livelihood, if you don't pay them loans back. But again, no shade to anybody that's trying to come up as far as immigration. But you have all this money for Ukraine and everybody else, and you want $20,000 plus interest from me? No, ma'am, no, sir. No, ma'am, no, sir.
Right.
But I understand. Right. I understand the contract legally. So what do I say? But nonetheless, I still choose to have a voice for that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Even with healthcare, as a nurse, as healthcare, you know, I've worked in facilities where people pay $5,000 a month to live in a room the size of a 1-bedroom room and a bathroom and a closet. Like, there's no space. There's nothing. $5,000. I pay $1,500 for 3 bedrooms and a loft. And that's excessive to me. Who has $5,000? Even if you have a whole lot of money in the bank, once you start paying that, like, that money dwindles down, and you have nothing to leave as far as a legacy. That is a problem for me. It's a serious problem. And the fact that we have conversations on the side or in the background, but we don't align and collaborate and unite to make a difference or a change. You're in Canada, I'm in the United States, you know, Africa, Asia, wherever. Everyone is dealing with the same problems from the 1%.
Yeah.
So why don't we have a voice?
And I think the big problem is something that was sort of like, you know, like what you said there. You kept hitting it like a couple times. This, I think, is the biggest problem. You said, I know I signed the contract, the 20,000. I like, you kept addressing, because that's like a big thing that people always want to address. Like, they always want, but, you know, I know I signed the contract. I think that's actually the biggest, like sort of subconscious issue, because it's like that is the biggest problem, because when I got debt, it's this weird thing that just, it's like a weight on your back. So even though you made an agreement, okay, fair enough, but when you go in your whatever field you might be working in, right, this debt, you're just not an inspired like work, you know, like, I don't want to say employee, but like a person that is working in that field. So if you have people working in a field, say like whatever that might be, nursing or whatever, you know, medical or engineering, whatever it might be, right, or school, whatever, right, and they don't have that, and they're making gains, and they're saving money, right, they're not living paycheck to paycheck. Those people are like in that role are going to be like, you know, a large percentage more effective, and they're going to be more inspired. They're not going to go to work on like all like, you know, already beaten down, because they have this thing that's like sort of like this number that just kind of chisels away at their spirit, right? And people are like, well, whatever, they made that agreement. It's like, well, no. First of all, if you're talking about like what, the bank, you owe the bank money, sure, I get that. But if the bank, you know how many businesses I've seen, and I'm like, I think people, you know, they get money from their parents or whoever they get, right? And they open a juice store right across the street from another juice, you know, like the cold pressed juice or whatever, right?
Right.
And they get a loan from a bank. Okay, that business closed and shutters, but it's an incorporated business. Okay, that loan, they don't owe any money to them. It's like that bank just eats that money. That bank, you know what I'm saying? That bank, they know they're going to take a lot of losses on businesses. They know that, right? Because if you put, as a citizen, say we have savings of $10,000, whatever it might be. Let's just say 10,000, right? That bank takes $9,000. It's like they have to hold 10%, right? But they can loan out.
They dropped it down to 1%. Though they dropped it. Do you know they dropped it down to 1%? Go ahead. They dropped it down to 1%.
So they can just so they can loan money that they don't actually have to people, right? And that money just might go evaporate, like a business that goes under, and they had to pay for the whole fit up and juicers and all this stuff, right? That business goes out of business. That business is incorporated, right? Which I think is really important for businesses to be separated from people, because that would be, nobody would have their own business, right? But the banks can just eat it, because they're not losing any money. They're really not losing, because they're lending that money out based on like leveraging other people having money in their bank.
Leveraging. Yeah. It's all a lie. So, that's my thing with that's my thing with this government. Like, why are we so comfortable settling for a lie when we know it's a lie? You know, we don't want to accept the truth, because the truth requires us to be accountable and be actionable. So you're just lazy and ignorant and just I don't want, excuse my language, but just fucked up. You are telling me that you want to believe a lie. I know the government's fucking us, and the government, the system is screwing us. I know that, but que sera, sera. I just can't do it. I can't, and I can't believe that it's only 300. There are plenty of people that think the way you and I are talking. This platform is talking. We just don't see it because mainstream media makes it look like something else. But there are plenty of people that think like this. We just don't feel validated. For me, I don't need anyone's validation. My truth is my truth. If I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. I promise I'll say, you know what? Why you say that, Leonard? Let me investigate. Let me think about this. Let me deflect. Whatever. I won't say no. You don't know what you're talking about. Fuck you. Da. No, why are you saying it? Let me reevaluate, and I can come and admit that. So there's a lack of accountability. We're so okay with somebody being in control of us. We talk about slavery. That's not a black. That's a worldwide mindset. When you listen to the mainstream media, when you listen to lies, when you listen to bullshit, and you're okay with that, and you're lazy and complacent and not actionable, you are enslaved. That's an everybody thing, and that's a worldwide thing. Nobody's winning.
People aren't lazy either. Like, this is the thing. It's like, when you did your nursing, or I went through my program, it is difficult. Like, you have to slog away, right? Like, the money aspect shouldn't be a portion of it, in the sense that, like, somebody can make a case saying, well, if it's like, if you don't have to pay, then everybody will just go. It's like, well, look, it's not. First of all, you have to get in. Second of all, it's like you're working. Like, you have to study, you have to write paper, like, you have to learn. Like, just that alone is going to motivate somebody after they leave the program because they just did all that work, right? They're going to go and be motivated in the field, like that, whatever they educated or whatever interest they had, right? They're going to go and utilize that. And that proves people aren't lazy. People will work their butt off to learn in school, right? And then afterwards, if you, they've already proven, like, students that graduate have already proven that they're not lazy, they're motivated, they're inspired, right? Now put them in the field that they want to work in without a big, like, anchor on them, and they're going to continue to be, grow and work and be inspired and innovate, as opposed to go, oh yeah, we're just going to throw an anchor on them. Like,
I don't know. I think it depends. I don't know. I'm gonna give you a few examples from that. Few examples. When I was in nursing school, when they told me, like, if you sign for nursing school, like, basically they really said to me, like, how I interpret it was like, fuck everything else, fuck your family, your bills, fuck everything. Like, this is the only thing that matters. And I was like, that's crazy. That sounds crazy. When I got into it, I was like, oh, they was for real, for real, for real. And it costs everything, But I went to school with a girl. She was a little older than me, and I have student loans. She paid her way through nursing, stripping. She got through nursing school, started working, and she was like, this ain't worth it, and went back to stripping. See what I'm saying? Like, it's, where's your passion? Where's your purpose? When somebody says to you, hey, Leonard, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? A doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. Not who do you want to be? There's a difference between what and who. Who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a doctor. I watched my mom in a hospital struggling, and I watched these doctors coming in and out. There was no bedside manner, and I was turned off. I want to be a nurse, and so when I go into nursing, I come out, I'm like, this shit ain't the same as what I thought it was, and it's not. It's very disturbing, So go ahead.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that was like I was gonna say this before. I'm like, I don't know why anybody would get this, to be honest. Because first of all, like, it is just like a 12-hour slog, okay? And you're dealing with like people always assume that, like, nurses are dealing with people like themselves. Okay, well, maybe, but also they're in pain. They're like, if they're out, like, unconscious or like debilitated, right? They're bleeding everywhere. It's like traumatizing. Okay, first of all, I don't know why anybody would choose that path, but I get, like, that's kind of a big thing. There's a couple fields that are, like, well known. Like, nursing is a thing that everybody kind of, it's there's a lot of people who just know about it, right? They're just like told that this is a thing. Quantity surveying, the thing I'm doing right now, even what I'm doing overarching, I was like, you asked me like, okay, what do you want to do? I'm like, this definitely wouldn't have been it. But while I was like, I like being on like a let's call myself an independent person. Like, I emancipated myself, had like zero financial support since I was 16, right? So this choice I made, like you were saying, it's a good point. It's like halfway through the program, I entered the program because I built this thing called a couple buildings called earth ships. They're like they're built out of recycled material. They heat, water, shelter, give food, everything to the occupants within the home without any lines in, and electricity and everything, right? And what inspired me about that was like I grew up where the house that you lived in, like all the money went to this. You know what I mean? So my idea was I wanted to design buildings. So I got into architecture, building engineering. Well, like just like you're saying, it's like halfway through, you're like, well, what, like instead of like who or whatever is inspiring me, I'm like, well, wait. Do I want to be like an architect, like trying to design buildings because you know what I mean? Like, but there was this money path, and I was never the money path person. But that's quantity surveying is all about the economics. So I literally just beat like sort of like took like a left or whatever, a right angle, turn and went down the economic path. It's given me more of like freedom, and it provided me like the ability to be independent. But what I'm doing right now isn't something like you said, like that. Like if I asked myself as a kid, like, what do you want to be? I mean, maybe I like to build a lot of forts. Maybe I could make that case, right? But primarily, I think if I look back and was honest, I think a big part of it was like wanting to, have this thing that both, sort of like said to the world that I was like of value or something. Does that make sense? Like
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I made it my own a little bit by like opening my own shop and like branding it where I'm like the opposite of most business. Like we won't take like nobody, like the whole cultural thing in the business where nobody takes, it's called kickback. Construction people always love to bribe. It's a weird thing. So our whole thing, like with my clients, I'm like, no, we love working with him because he doesn't do that shit. He always above board. He advocates for us, right? So it's like in that way, I kind of created this thing that, like even though it might not speak to like what I wanted to do as a kid or whatever, but I still am able to get something out of it, be it the sort of like, I don't know, honest, operating from a place of integrity, and then having like, those same type of people around me. And then, like you were saying, like I'm not sure if you're still in nursing or not, but even if you're not, like you're saying that the stripper friend, she's still like, the thing is, I still think that she's a better human being, generally speaking, because like you might be studying nursing, not better or less or whatever. I'm just saying like she has more information. She was exposed to that sort of like, if something happened at the, like maybe she went back and, to the venue that she worked at, right? She's probably making more money. But now if something happened, she could, bandage somebody up, or she could speak, like she'll have a deeper, I don't know, dialogue, or have a greater sort of vantage point of whatever. So,
and that makes sense. This is, I think, when people ask, as an adult, when you ask a child what they want to be, like you should elaborate on those things. There's no, children are so influential, and then like once you set on a path, it's what it is. And I hear so many people now, they're like, I like doing this is my hobby, but I don't want to do it for a job because I don't want to take the fun out of it. So you want to work for doing something you don't like to do, but you won't do something you want to do. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like people are not making logic out of their lives.
To build on that a little bit, you said something earlier. You guys were saying something earlier about like to sort of like do a call back to earlier in the conversation. You said about like this sort of this influence of being entertained or being entertainers or whatever, like in the community, right?
Right.
So like that's like I was listening, I was like, I kind of see that message being propagated, right? Like sports or, you know, music or whatever, right? And I'm like, or, you know, a lot of people, when they don't know what they want to do, they want to make money, right? So it's like, okay, sometimes you don't know what you want, but if you want to make a bunch of money, right, but you're told there's only 2 or 3 avenues to do that, like, especially if like you're pointing in the direction of like some sort of like level of a celebrity, like professional sports, like 1% of 1% make it like that far to make that money, right? So that's like a very, and then, but you know, during this like my like journey through this my business, right? I met some accountants, right? This is a little bit of a sidetrack, but this is something that I try to encourage people, tell them about. It's like, it's not very sexy, or it doesn't sound like it, right? But like I met this accountant, right? He's like, look, nobody knows about, like, nobody talks about this. Everybody thinks accountants are boring and hate their job. Yeah, it's all numbers and stuff, but he's an accountant, like he's a general accountant for the area, like an area like of the city or of like, let's say a town or whatever, right? If you're a general accountant where people come, tax times come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why am I talking about it? Well, he's like, look, what happens is, why do you think so many accountants that are general accountants open businesses? I'm like, well, why? He said, look, we process all of the community around us, whether it be city or town, all the businesses are coming through, right? You're doing all their taxes. You're like, yeah. You're really good at the numbers. I'm like, yeah, because you know it. You see exactly which businesses are doing really well. I'm like, and you're like, through that experience of knowing, you have to know how a business runs to be able to be an accountant as well. Okay. He's like, so that's why you see accountants opening business on the side, because they just know that if they open a business in that area, they know the ones that people like, the ones that do well. But nobody tells kids to go be a general accountant. If you want to make it like those guys, I'm like, what? That's like a 40% success rate, and you're going to be a millionaire most likely if you get into general account, right? But nobody tells you to do that. Like, nobody tells you, okay, like, maybe look into this sort of field, right? Because it doesn't have, like, it has, like, maybe a branding of, like, a pocket protector or whatever. You know what I mean? But, like, it's really a very powerful place. And even if you were like an accountant, like, you don't even have to open your own business. You could then consult to, say, an investor. They'll pay you just like, and you're not even having to do any work without the overhead and all that other stuff. You could just consult to them and charge them hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Because you have all this information, and these people, these investors, you're not giving them like a possible risk idea. You're telling them, like, without telling the actual deeper financials of these companies, you're telling them these businesses, like, if you open this business, you can communicate why without breaching any sort of, like, you know what I mean, like privacy information, because you don't want to do that as well, right? But the percentage of, you know, kids that would go into that field, they're like, you know what I mean? We're talking 40% success rate, being millionaires and understanding the economic area that they live in with success, right? But nobody, I didn't know that. I would never even thought that was a thing. I would, like, you know what I mean? If I didn't get into this brand of thing I'm doing now. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why these conversations are important, because people don't know. Yeah. And they're so, people are so programmed to where they're not open to a different concept. And it's very detrimental, you know? So that's why I do have these conversations. It's very detrimental. And shout out to William and Midnight, who's in the chat. If you want to come up and chat, just let me know. You can come on up. I like talking to Leonard. I've talked to him before. I love talking to you. He's so motivating. So yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, it's crazy. If you don't have any goals, like, I don't understand why people don't want to be open to options, you know, and things I've done. If I'm talking to you or whoever, like, if you say something, I might, like, it might spark an interest in me, and I might go look to do something else, you know. I'm a nurse. I'm a life coach. I become an ordained minister. I do all kinds of things. I do resumes, I'm a life insurance agent, all kinds of things. Like, don't tell me something and don't think I won't, you know, prompt to it, you know. So, there's no reason why anyone can't do what they want to do. that makes them happy. It's not that difficult. We make excuses. That's why I said about that laziness. People are lazy because you make excuses why you don't want to be great, and all the while you complain about your circumstances and your situations, but you don't make any moves. So where's the accountability? Whose fault is it? I don't know the man. Show me the man. I would like to shake his hand and have a conversation. Who is the man? The man got me. Who is the man?
Right.
You know, I know when I put myself in different, like there's no excuse for me. I was a teenage mother, a high school dropout, and I'm a nurse.
Well,
so I don't understand. I can't say that if I can do it, you can. But you tell me why you can't. Has nothing to do with it. Why can't you? Why don't you want to? Why won't you? The man. Well,
the man. Who is it? Who is this? Who is it?
Call him on three-way. Call him on three-way. Call him on three-way.
Where are they? Where are these? But here's the thing. Okay, my question is, like, you sort of inspired this in me as well. A couple things. Firstly, when you said that, right? Like, I will say, you know, that level of inspiration. Like when you hit that, like you said, I think you said young mother, right? And then high school dropout, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like most people that I've like talked to, they're like they'll say those two things or whatever and go like almost like they just like sort of count themselves out, right? And that's a very common like sort of rhetoric. So when and sort of repeats itself. So people that are in that situation will like sort of almost reinforces it. So I guess the question is like I almost asked myself the same question, right? So like I wonder if we can find out what the trigger point or something was for us that differentiated us or gave us the ability to not feel sort of like boxed in. Do you know what I mean? Because like you were facing some like, you know what I mean, like a lot of you have to now pay for a dependent, right? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that most people go like, this is crazy and feel demotivated. Like I always ask myself, what was it for me that was like, because especially people around me are like, nah, only rich people with rich families. Like somehow I was able to kind of like it wasn't magic. I don't think I always had that same thing, like that same drive, that same inspiration. But like I feel like I want to try to like figure out that sort of whatever it was that kind of like allowed me to push through that noise. You know what I mean? That repeating thought that a lot of people have, like, oh, I can't do it because, like you're saying, the man's keeping, you know what I mean, keeping us, like making it impossible. But there must be something. There must have been some moment that, or could like maybe not one moment, but a series of them that inspired or created like a freedom of thought, or like, you know what I mean? Because you were, at some point, right? Was there a moment where you're like, well, this is it. These are my challenges. Now I'm going to be in this pathway until maybe my child graduates. Was there like a TSN turning point? You know what I mean? Like, was there like a moment where you were like, or were you just always driven to sort of like find a path?
I think I was always driven, but I think for anybody, whether you're driven or you're in a place of disparity, it's a decision, it's a choice. Like you said, like being, growing up poor. Like I don't think any child as an adult would look back and say, I knew I was poor. A lot of people, they don't know they're poor or like impoverished, and I can attest to that, because our parents do what they can do. As a parent, I do what I can do. But I think it's a matter of mindset. And I understand that people have different upbringings and foundations. So I'm very grateful for mine. But it's, regardless of your age, it's always a matter of mindset. Like when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. When my mom said that, I hate that shit. I'm sick and tired. What do you mean you're sick and tired of being sick and tired? Take your ass to bed. But now I understand that, and when you're fed up with a lack of, or a minimization, you make a change. You make a choice. You are aware of a decision, and you can either go, against or with the grain. So it's always a decision. And that's my strive. It's always a decision. It doesn't matter how you are brought up. When you're an adult at, 30 plus, and I say that because women and men have different, you know, cap offs as far as adulthood and mindsets or whatever. But at 30 plus, like, there's no reason why you can say my father, my mother, this XYZ, and that's your reason for why you don't progress. So for me, it was having a mindset, like, you do or you don't. I've been, like I said, I've been a teenage mother, I've been a high school dropout, I've been, sexually abused as a child, I've been homeless, all those things. I don't want those things anymore. It's a choice. It's a choice. So if you choose to adapt to the detriment of your upbringing, it's a choice. If you choose to rise above, it's a choice. But it's all on you. And at some point, you can't point the finger at anybody when you are understanding and wise enough to know what's good and what's not for you. I won't say right or wrong, but what's best or what's not conducive for you. You know what I'm saying? So that was my thing,
Yeah.
So, and I praise my husband, my king, he was so influential with me going into nursing, even as a high school dropout, by any means, that's what I was going to do, so I didn't know how it was going to happen, but it was going to happen. So, having goals and having a mindset for the process of your goals. We want to be rich, we want to be a millionaire, all these things. But what's the process? What's the, we want the right now microwave kind of mindset and results, but we don't want to go to the process. So I've had to go to the process. And that's why I share these kind of things with people, because it's a process. Your life's fucked up, your life's great. Your life might be great right now, but things can change, so what is going to stabilize you? What's going to set the standard for you saying yeah or nay? I'm on a, paycheck to paycheck kind of situation right now. I was doing really good, but now I'm on paycheck to paycheck situation. What would I do? Well, what won't I do? What will require for me to do what I need to do, so I won't do what I won't want to do? So it's all about a mindset. So
I think
it's about a mindset.
not to pick you up on when you said the process, right? There's something that triggered. Like, I think you said the process, which really inspired some thought in me. And then you said the desire for this quick I think you said microwave food, right? Immediate gratification, or something like that. So it's I think that might be the key trigger, right? Where it's understanding the process. Because you said if we focus on wanting to be this thing, the end, there's no end, right? That's the other thing too, right? You're going to be the millionaire, and you're over here, and you're not thinking about like you say, the process. Then it always feels like you're never hitting your goal, because you're thinking of this one thing that may result at the will result at the end, but you have to go okay, what's the goal right in front of me, or what's the process, because you know what I mean, because I think if we lose that, I guess why I asked that too is I have an older brother. I don't know if you have siblings, right? And we're vastly different in where we're at. You know what I mean? Only about a year and a half older.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said that immediate, almost, I think I'm sort of paraphrasing, but you said microwave thing, it's immediate gratification.
Right.
And I think that was I think you kind of had that a lot more, wanting to have a immediate sort of, okay, I got my paycheck, let's buy up, spend all the, I don't know, whatever it was immediate. I don't know, maybe that's the sort of the teaching point for people, is to understand that it's if you set, if you have a goal, say you're saying a million, wanting to be a millionaire or whatever, most people say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without understanding kind of unsatisfying, really, if you get there. But it's like if you set your milestones, instead of having a one goal, maybe it's like you have like a multitude of goals. So you're like, okay, what I want is I want to be able to, I don't know, whatever, get up and look up how to open a company. Boom.
Right.
Now you hit a goal. They're like, okay, man, I already hit a goal. Dang. And you go, the next one's there. So now it's like you chop up your big goal into like little goals, and then now people get like the ball rolling. Because I was like,
no, we want things like that show who doesn't want to be a millionaire, but you don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
When I tell you that you can have passive income, it's so hard for me to have people. I do a whole lot of things with passive income and help people grow their wealth, all kinds of things for free. I have a website where I charge people, but I keep giving things away for free. Why don't you want to take initiative? So even if there are things that you do that I don't do, I promise you, I can almost guarantee I can find something to help you and benefit you, even if it's not what I do. But people don't want to take hold of that. So that's the issue. We want things where everyone wants to be rich, everyone wants to be poor, but you don't realize that you're not poor because you don't realize you're in poverty. You have all this money, but you spend your money on Jordans and red bottoms and Versace, but you're on disconnect on your light bill. And you pay this enough to pay your light bill. You have credit cards with no credit and no ambition to resolve that and grow your credit score. So you understand how credit works and how you can work it for your benefit. You see, it's mind blowing.
I do now for a time, like even though but you know what you're saying, like a couple things when you said you help people out with like passive income and people are like they just don't do anything with it. It's like that's one thing I was going to talk about because I'm like that must be wild on like from your perspective. You're like I'm literally trying to help you. You're like here it is, and the people are like I don't know. Like it almost seems too good. Like I'm trying to think from their shoes. Like like I don't know. That might not work.
It's not
like,
wild because they don't believe it. Because people are always scamming and doing weird shit. It's not wild to me. It's wild to where you're not even open to understand. Like anything I get it. I've been scammed by student loans twice. Had to change my whole bank account twice on student loans. Like, are you serious? So I get it. So I try to make it myself accessible to people where you understand, like this conversation, where you understand. So I do term life insurance. I don't do whole life, but I know somebody that does whole life. So if you don't want term life, I know somebody that can help you. I'm a life coach. I don't have all the answers. I have no problem bringing another life coach on and having a conversation. I don't understand why we don't want to empower one another for the greater good. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you believe, your race, creed, religion, gender, whatever. There's enough for everybody. Why don't we want to support and empower one another? Like and share. That's all I say. But you don't want to like and share and subscribe. I don't understand. And I'm not mad about it because you don't know no better. So I can show you better than I can tell you. And there's a cost. Nothing's free. There's a cost. Everything I do, you being here, it's a cost for you. It costs your time and your energy. Your wisdom. And I'm grateful for that. It costs. People don't always see that. That's not my issue. And it's sad because I don't mean any harm, but a lot of people do, and you don't see that. And it makes it more controversial. I'm 42 years old. I don't have time. I spend a lot of time. That's my whole life. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I've been where people have been. I can't tell you to do what I do because I know XYZ. My story is not your story. I have siblings. We have different stories. Different. So it's very individualized. But why don't we want to be open to something better? We don't know everything. You know how long you have to live to know everything? Come on.
Yeah. I like you said something like why don't we want to want? It's like to better other people. It's like I always thought everybody wanted to have that. They got like a good feeling from it. because there is, like, I think maybe it was like a naive thing to think that everybody would feel good about, like trying to inspire or provide information, or you know what I'm saying? Because it does feel good. Like that is like just that in itself. Like if you can kind of like I have a friend, this one friend, I was like, like you want to call it life coaching, right? He's talking about it's like, oh, he felt like this way, and I would, he would tell me about what he's doing. Like he was at one point he was working with his dad, okay, and he felt like he got silver spooned, and he definitely did, but he couldn't see his own value in it. Whatever. Long and the short was, all I'm trying to get it. I'm like hearing what he's saying, and I'm repeating back to him what he just said. I'm like, you see your value here? And he was like, oh, okay. But also like, yeah, whatever. And then the reason I bring him up, though, is because he was like one of the only people, and still is. Like I've watched him go from that to opening his own businesses to him coming back. We're dialoguing. But he's like one of the only people that when you have a conversation with somebody and you're giving them that advice, right? And then the next time I saw him, we're talking a couple days or 3 days later, he's put it into action, and I'm like at some point, I'm like, obviously the little part of you wants to go take credit.
But it's godlike. Like, damn, high five to me. Like, damn.
Yeah, right? And then I was like, how many times I've had conversation with people, and you're trying to help them out, they just don't do anything with it. So the fact that he kept coming back every time we're breaking it down, he's like, oh man, this isn't working. Oh, I made a big mistake. But now I'm like, well, look, that mistake right there, most people have to wait a long time to have that mistake. And what's now opened up for you. Boom, a week later, we're hanging out. He's putting another move in action. He's doing it. So I'm like, part of me wants to go, you know what? Like, see, but I did it because
it's what you do.
Right? It's just like, it's so, it's so inspiring to actually see somebody take your advice, right? And actually, they're like, you know what I mean? They're utilizing it for.
But nobody wants to own that. Nobody wants to say it but when somebody says that you ain't shit and you messed up and you said the wrong thing, then you feel bad. But like, we don't want to take credit for when we do positive things. Why?
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying.
Man,
yeah.
That's all I tried. If like I said, if I'm wrong, if I'm misspoken, I'm never trying to be wrong. If I'm misspoken, then say that, and I can tell you, hey, Leonard, you know what? I see what you're saying. I agree or I disagree, whatever it is. But I respect your opinion. Why not? If you're in a bad position, like, why won't you? Don't take my advice. I'm telling you something. Like, go research. I'll give you resources.
Yeah.
But don't come out and be like, hey, Angelina, you told me this and you were right, and I didn't do what you said. So what do I do now? That pisses me off. I'm like, go to the website, pay for my services, because I gave you advice. Like, what's happening? What do I have to? I'm not here to entertain you. What do you need to tell you that what's right and wrong? The fact that you have to reach out to somebody else, that's a problem in itself.
Well, like, and again, I don't mean to paraphrase, but I don't get the sense from you that you go, like, again, I don't know, but I'm just going to speak, I'm not trying to be, whatever, but like, it's like, when you give, you're talking with somebody, right? You're going, okay, everything you're doing is terrible. Do this, and then they come back and they like, you know what I mean? Like it's like you tell people, you're talking with people. Okay, look, here's a couple things you might want to try. I heard what you said. You kind of repeat it back to them, and then they go like, you're not really like for people like, and they never come back right away. When they're like, oh my god, you changed my life. Like, you know what I mean? But if they go out and they like, maybe. Like, let's just say most of the time they make a mistake on their own. They might they might go halfway into something, and then they might come back and go, well, I did like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh, what happened? Break it down for me. And usually what happens is like, I'm like, well, look, like, let's break down what you just said to me. It's not so much that like the advice was wrong, or I've told you to do, like, put all your money on black or red or whatever, right? It's not like that. It's like, here's some action items. And then, but like it's a really good what do you call that? Like a case study. It's like where people are really they're really motivated to have someone tell them exactly what to do, and then you know what I mean? Like where people will go and like go, here, just take my money and invest it, And then say you do that and you make them a bunch of money, you give it back to them. And then like they think that that's really going to give them some sense of satisfaction, when in turn it's not. Like that's what a lot of people have, that desire of like wanting somebody to tell them exactly what to do, but they really don't, because like you said it earlier too, it's like it's not just the end goal, it's the process. The process is like there's a deeper level of enjoyment through that than you'll ever get from like getting to, like, say somebody's like, I want to be a millionaire, so they hit, like, maybe they get to 1,000,001, right? Now they're a millionaire or whatever, okay, or whatever, 2 million, whatever qualifies you as a million. Now they're there. They have the money, they have the digital number, right? But they're still having the same dissatisfaction, right? They thought it was having the money, but it was like, it's like what they're really missing, I think, if I look back on what really gave me sense of satisfaction, is the process, is the work. It's like pushing through the unknown avenues or whatever, and then you get through it, and you're like, oh, let's keep going. Let's see what else. Like, let's, learn more, or get, go deeper into it, or become more efficient, or whatever it is, right? So,
and if you make $50,000 a year, that's all you make. You go from 30,000 to 50,000 to 60,000 to 100,000 to $1 million. Like, it's nothing, because you just keep increasing your spending habits. There's no like you said, there's no process. I listen like Les Brown, Jordan Peterson. If you can make $1 million one time, you can do it over and over again. If you can make $50,000, you can do it over and over again, right? So it's a matter of mindset. Where you see celebrities and entertainers where you think they're billionaires and they're broke as hell. TLC, there have been plenty of celebrities that said they're broke as hell, and you think they're millionaires because all these, records and all this stuff, but they're broke because there's no mindset of financial wealth. And wealth is not just about finances. It's about a mindset. It's about legacy. It's about family, community, all these different things. So it's a misconception, so the misunderstanding is what gets people screwed up in the end, so having those conversations, they're important. I have a bunch of businesses, but I don't invest in those businesses because I'm always doing stuff. I'm always busy. We have to be more focused and more intentional. I'm reading a book right now. I'm gonna start a book club. I was gonna do it on Zoom, but I'm gonna do it on StreamYard because I like StreamYard. And the book I'm reading is Atomic Habits, and it's talking about how you don't set goals. Like if I say I want to make $500 by next week, extra $500. It's not beneficial if you don't say how you're gonna do it. I want to be resilient. I want to be consistent. I want to be whatever it is. You had to set. You had to change your mindset as far as who you are to obtain what you want. So we want things. Everybody wants to be rich, but you don't want to do the work. You don't want to get up early. You keep hitting the snooze button. I've been hitting the snooze button forever. My husband hates that face. I'm so. Why do you keep hitting the snooze button? Why you set your alarm at 6? You don't get up till 7. Because that's what works for me. But it was not beneficial for the greater good. So we had to change our mindsets and change our goals. And until we do that, all of us are enslaved in a mindset. It's like kind of being like somebody kidnaps you and like they tie you up in the basement and put the key right next to you. And you take the key and just throw it across the goddamn room, chained up, and you can't get to the key. That's what we're doing. Right now, slavery is a choice. It is a mindset.
Oh man, it's like, okay, I'm a little too excited there, but like you said something earlier. You said like right now you're in like a different like financial place or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But like you have the mindset is different now, because if you like, again, maybe I'm paraphrasing or like speaking in term, but like now if I go to a place where I had like university whatever, I was in a different place, right? But because my mindset's different now, I wouldn't look at it the same way. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm here now. Now I'm just going to go through the same steps or whatever processes, right? Because like when you change your mindset, I don't know if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. It's
It
like
does.
you don't look at it like you're in a bad place. You're like, no, I'm just here right now, and now I know the next path, step, and it'll change again, and it'll just be, you're not like, okay, well, this is it. You're like, no, this is just now, and now tomorrow will be this, and this next thing will be, you know what I mean? So you have sort of like a structure. Yeah.
It again, like it's a process. It's a step-by-step situation. And if you're not going to be endurant for it, then you're not going to survive.
Yeah.
There has to be resilience.
Because it's like, okay, like how many people, like we've heard the stories, right? People win the lottery, right? And they're like, more depressed than they've ever been. Like those whole stories, right? You know what I'm saying? Because they thought that was going to answer all the things they're sort of like whatever was giving them tension or anxiety, right? But it's like having very inspiring right now. Oh, like your inspiring thought to me. It's like having that process gives you a person. It's not about like the end result of some economic number. It's like now you have this like toolkit where it doesn't really matter where you are because cash flow goes up and down. We all know that. But when you have gone through the process enough, you now are resilient. So whether your numbers here or there doesn't really matter because you feel like a person. You go, all right, whatever, I'm here now. Let's just go through the process again because it's not like you're not moving in like you're not moving into doubt or not knowing because you now have actually gone through the process. You know the next steps to go to whatever, change wherever you're at, right? So
right.
If that wasn't too much of a mouthful, I think that's kind of like a more.
No, I love the conversation. No, I love it. I love it. No, you made perfect sense.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm over here grinning. I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm like thinking to myself, like, anything changed right now, I would like it wouldn't really matter because I would know the next steps. Like it's sort of like you're giving yourself sort of like this intangible. I was gonna say superpower, but that sounds like so
it is
cliche.
But it is though. Let's keep it real. It is. Yeah. If you have that wisdom and knowledge, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's like, sorry, one second. I have all these clients, right? And they're investors. They call themselves developers, right?
Okay.
And so they have.
All right, you all. I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna upload this conversation on my website. So thank you for tuning in. Please like and share. I'll put this conversation on StreamYard or on stereo rather. Peace, love, and blessings.
There was no real necessity or requirement for them to push into something like learning the depths of the details, an arduous task of learning